I, Saiyan Prince, The Wind Rises Ultra Ego 3. Chapter 1. 6th Universe. Planet Sadara. Inaccessible desert area. Fangyong, look at the move. A little girl who seemed to be only about 7 years old let out an immature cry, which turned into a stream of white light and rushed towards a boy who was a little older than her. Shua. Fangyong turned his body slightly, dodging the little girl's fist lightly, and slapped it with his right hand, hitting the girl's back. Boom. The little girl had an intimate contact with the earth on the spot. It hurts to death, it hurts to death. The little girl immediately jumped up from the ground, rubbed her body vigorously, and screamed in pain. Shao Ka, your reaction is too slow, you have to practice hard. Fangyong said to the little girl with a smile. HMPH, it's because you are 1 year older than me and have practiced for a year longer than me. Otherwise, do you think I would lose to you? Shao Ka looked unhappy. Shao Ka, you are a girl, and you have a great advantage in terms of gender. Fangyong smiled. Why do you say that? Shao Ka was slightly taken aback. If you're a boy, I'm afraid I'll beat you to death for what you said just now. Fangyong stepped forward and rubbed Shao Ka's head. Don't touch my hair, it's making my hair explode. Shao Ka pouted angrily, looking sullen. Shao Ka, you are getting more and more humorous. Fangyong laughed. Our Saiyan hairstyle is innate and it is difficult to change. Don't call me Shao Ka, I'm Caulifla. Shao Ka clenched her fists tightly and corrected Fangyong seriously. Call out. The two were talking, only to hear a sudden roar from the distant horizon. Suddenly, a golden streamer quickly sank into the starry sky, blooming brilliant colors in the starry sky. Huh, what happened? This signal seems to have come from a very distant palace. Caulifla immediately flew into the sky, turning her head to look into the distance. Fangyong also flew up slowly, frowning slightly, with a dignified expression. I remembered, this signal seems to be calling our prince, to let him return to the palace as soon as possible. Caulifla held his chin and meditated in a low voice. It is said that our Prince of Saiyan is training outside. It seems like it's been a long time, right? It has been 3 years, 4 months and 16 days. Fangyong said slowly. Hey, how did you know? Caulifla was taken aback, and you know such details. The corners of Fangyong's mouth turned up slightly, and a faint smile appeared on his face. Could it be, are you His Royal Highness? Caulifla suddenly came back to her senses, her eyes widened. You finally know. Fangyong smiled. You don't want to kill me, do you? Caulifla took a step back. Fangyong, he, just kidding, just kidding. Caulifla covered her mouth with a smile, and asked curiously, by the way, why did the king summon you back in such a hurry? I don't know, there should be something very important. Fangyong guessed, and stepped forward to pat Caulifla's head again. Okay, Shao Ka, I'm going back to the palace, thank you for your company these 3 years. I said, don't call me Shao Ka, it doesn't sound good at all. Caulifla pouted. Where's little Kaka? Fangyong smiled. Caulifla kept rolling her eyes. There was a brief silence. Go, maybe the king summoned you to choose a concubine for you. Caulifla grinned. How many? Fangyong scratched his head and asked expectantly. Caulifla gave Fangyong a hard look at that moment. Several. Is there such a shameless prince as you? We Saiyan are all monogamous. Strange. Why should I be angry? I am only 7 years old. I didn't even think about being a princess. You have to practice hard, Fangyong. No, Your Highness. Caulifla looked up at Fangyong and said, when I see you next time, I will definitely not lose to you. Fangyong nodded with a smile, waved at Caulifla, and flew slowly into the distance. Hey, if the king chooses a concubine for you, your concubine must be stronger than you. Caulifla shouted loudly from behind. Do you want me to have no wife? Fangyong replied angrily, is there anyone stronger than me? Me. Caulifla immediately pointed to her nose and shouted loudly. However, Fangyong has already flown away. Caulifla got messed up in the wind. You look back at me instead. Just laughed so ruthlessly. Is the prince amazing? Fangyong, I will definitely surpass you. Caulifla tightly clenched her fist. Fangyong is a Dragon Ball fan. One day, Fangyong woke up and found that he had traveled to a magical world. Moreover, here is my favorite Dragon Ball world. When Fangyong was born, he smiled happily. Because, Fangyong crossed into Saiyan in the world of Dragon Ball. But it's not the Saiyan on planet Vegeta, but the Saiyan on the Shadara planet in the 6th universe. Still a prince. Similar to the Saiyan of the 7th universe, the Saiyan of the 6th universe is also a fighting nation, born with powerful fighting power. As a prince, Fangyong has obtained excellent genes and inheritance. However, there are no detectors on the Shadara planet to detect the combat power value. But Fangyong knows that his talent is still very good. Of course, Fangyong is also very aware of the current status of the 6th universe Saiyan. So far, there is no Saiyan in the 6th universe who can transform into a Super Saiyan. Not to mention Super Saiyan God or Freedom and Ego. When Fangyong was 5 years old, he bid farewell to his father and queen, left the palace, and practiced on the planet Shadara. Courtesy of Beerus. As long as you grasp the destruction, you will have the possibility of unlimited upgrades. Fangyong kept this sentence firmly in his heart, and practiced seriously. That year, Fangyong met Caulifla. From then on, Fangyong practiced with Caulifla, until today he received the signal from the palace. This signal means that something very important has happened in the palace. Fangyong traveled over here when he was a baby. Therefore, Fangyong still has a deep affection for the king and queen. It is very far away from the palace, at least 100,000 kilometers away. Flying back at my current speed, the day lily is cold. Fangyong flew for a while, feeling that the speed was too slow. Snapped. Fangyang's body suddenly burst into purple-red light. Immediately afterwards, Fangyang's hair also immediately turned purple. Call out. Fangyong left a purple-red streamer in the air, which disappeared in an instant. In just a blink of an eye, Fangyong appeared in the sky above the palace in a purple-red light, overlooking the magnificent palace below. Fangyang's whole body was shimmering with purple-red light, his hair stood up high, and his handsome face exuded a faint evil aura. Fangyong immediately released the sensor to see if there was any danger in the palace. Snapped. A purple-red destructive ability emerged in Fangyang's hands, ready for battle in advance. Shish. All of a sudden, 4 figures quickly appeared in front of Fangyong, around him, and surrounded him. The 4 are dressed in Saiyan costumes, fully armed, and have an amazing aura. Who dare to break into the forbidden area of the palace? The 4 shouted at Fangyong in unison. These 4 are the strongest guards in the palace, known as the wind from southeast to northwest. It is said to be the strongest Saiyan besides the queen and king. Fangyong glanced at these 4 people, fearing that one of them would accidentally kill them. He immediately disappeared on the spot with a flash of his body. The 4 guards' eyes widened, showing shock on their faces, and they didn't come back to their senses for a long time. What about people? Why is it gone? The 4 guards searched for Fangyong in the air. Mother, I'm back. Fangyong flew into the harem of the palace, the purple light on his body dissipated and he returned to normal. At the same time, the destructive energy in Fangyang's hand was also taken back by him. Just now, Fangyong let go of the sensor and found that everything in the palace was fine and there was no battle, so he was relieved a lot. In the elegant courtyard of the crepe myrtle flowers in the harem, a dignified and beautiful woman sits. The woman is graceful and luxurious, with the aura of a king on her body. This woman is Fangyang's mother. Beside the woman stood a little girl who looked about 7 years old. The little girl has long hair and a shawl, graceful and handsome. Saiyan is a fighting nation. Between the ages of 7 and 14, Saiyan looks like a child, so that he can better disguise himself in the universe. But Fangyong could tell that this little girl must be a great beauty when she grows up. But now, I don't have a figure. Fangyong is back. Come on, let the queen mother take a good look. The queen was drinking tea leisurely, and when she saw Fangyang's return, she quickly put down her teacup and got up, and looked at Fangyong lovingly. Queen, what happened? You called me back in such a hurry. Fangyong asked. You left home at the age of 5, and now you are 8 years old. You have grown a lot, and you look calm and mature. The queen smiled. Also, your aura is several times stronger than it was 3 years ago. Not bad. Boy, you've grown up. Are you all right at home? Fangyong asked. The queen mother called me back in such a hurry. Wouldn't it be my father who died and let me come back to inherit the throne? Queen, you child, you know how to make fun of your father. The queen couldn't help laughing. The little girl showed black lines on her face, complaining in her heart. This is the prince. Is that all you want to inherit the throne? Everything is fine at home, said the queen. If it's okay, I'm going to go out and continue my practice. Fangyong said. Don't worry, the reason why I called you back is that there is indeed a very important thing for you to complete. The queen said, and greeted the little girl behind her. Ziyao, come here. Yes, queen. The little girl stepped forward immediately. The queen took the little girl Ziyao's hand, and Fangyong with the other hand. Fangyong revealed a look of confusion. Snapped. The queen put Fangyang's hand and Ziyao's hand together. There was a flush of red on Ziyao's face, revealing a shy look like a little girl. Fangyong, you are not too young. The queen mother carefully selected a princess for you, who will accompany you for the rest of your life. The queen said softly. Fangyong, that little girl Caulifla really hit the spot. Ahem, my mother. I'm only 8 years old. Fangyong wiped his sweat. You are a prince, the only heir to the throne. The queen said, when your father was 8 years old, I made a marriage contract with your father. Fangyong was speechless. If you don't object, it's such a happy decision. The queen smiled. Empress, please wait a moment, I have a small proposal. Fangyong said. What, son, just say it, as long as the queen can do it, she will do her best to satisfy you. The queen was taken aback, looking at Fangyong with a loving expression on her face. Mother, I think monogamy is not suitable for our Saiyan. Fangyong said plausibly, our Saiyan is originally a minority with a small population. Polygamy should be advocated, so that our Saiyan can flourish. Well, it's not okay to start with the king as a pilot, right? Who made the king of a country? It should serve as an example. Then, the prince can follow suit. The kindness on the queen's face gradually disappeared. Ha ha ha, Fangyong, my son, what you said is too good, the father has already had this idea. The next moment, I saw the king striding up from a distance, showing a spring breeze on his face. I still understand me. My son is right. This is indeed a major event that benefits the country and the people. It should be implemented and promoted as soon as possible. The king smiled brightly. The queen's face turned green, and the phoenix crown shook slightly on her head. Ziyao. There are more black lines on Ziyao's forehead. King, what did you just say? The queen looked at the king with a dark face. I'm also thinking about the reproduction of Saiyan. The king's face changed slightly, and his voice became smaller and smaller. Try saying one more sentence. The queen said coldly. I'm just kidding. The king quickly changed his words. Bang bang bang. The queen rushed up quickly and beat the king violently. The king screamed as he was beaten. Fangyong wiped his sweat aside. Ziyao waved her small fist, feeling that the queen's beating was too enjoyable. Fangyong looked at Ziyao. HMPH. Scumbag. Ziyao pouted and gave Fangyong a hard look. Fangyong, this little girl dared to insult the prince. I'm not interested in you right now. You haven't grown up yet. When you grow up, I will take care of you. The premise is that you are beautiful. That night, the king held Fangyang's hand and wept. Fangyong, my son, when you choose a princess in the future, you must choose a woman who is not as strong as you. Your father is your lesson from the past. The king sighed. Father, you are really sad. Fangyong sighed. The king of Saiyan has a long way to go. The king looked up to the sky and sighed. Fangyong, there was a moment of silence. So, you called me back this time to make an engagement for me? Fangyong asked. Your mother made a lot of choices, and finally found a little girl with outstanding talents. Don't look at her young age. I heard that none of the 4 major guards in the palace are her opponents. The king sighed. Fangyong, my child, if you really choose her as your concubine, I'm afraid your future life will be as miserable as your father's. The kid is pretty good at hitting. Fangyong smiled indifferently. Your father is the king of a country, the king of Saiyan. Except for your mother, the father has never touched other women. The king said, tears came out of his eyes. Father's Day. Fangyong sighed along with him. When the king treats it like this, there is no one else. By the way, that's it again. The king changed the subject and asked a little strangely, did you see a strange person with a purple-red light all over his body when you came back? I can't seem to see him. Fangyong pondered. That's me, I can't see him. Unless there is a mirror. What do you mean? The king was taken aback. It's not important anymore. Fangyong shook his head. Important. Of course it is important. The king quickly emphasized, could it be a killer? Who did you offend? Fangyong asked. Ahem. Your mother said that my strength is too low and I need to be cultivated, so I found a killer. She said she wanted to improve my reaction ability. The king looked up to the sky and shouted, it's my misfortune to have such a wife. While talking, the queen appeared in the king's hall without making a sound. With a wife like this, what more can a husband ask for? The king's expression changed, and he changed his words quickly. Fangyong shook his head. If you don't work hard in cultivation, who do you blame? Son, the marriage contract between you and Xiao has been settled so happily, how is it? The queen smiled. Mother, one Xiao is not enough. Fangyong sighed, I am the future king, and I want the Sangong and 6 courtyards. Are you looking for a beating, boy? The queen's face darkened. With me here, I will never allow you father and son to mess around. I can understand that you don't want my father to have other women, but I am your son, don't you want more descendants? Fangyong asked plausibly. I hope, but I don't want to break the rules. The queen said seriously. Forget it, let's talk about it when I become an adult at the age of 18. Fangyong shook his head, feeling that it's too early to say these things. They're all little kids, they haven't grown up yet. When I grow up, I will ask for more. I'm going to practice, father, take care. After Fangyong finished speaking, he immediately left. In the palace, only the king and queen were left. Well, the weather is good today, the king laughed. The queen kept a cold face and did not speak. I still have something to do. If the queen has nothing to report, then she should leave first. The king said. Bang bang bang. The next moment, Fangyong heard his father's heart-piercing cries coming from the palace wall. Fangyong wiped his sweat. You are king. How did you let your wife bully you like this? When I become king, I want to change this status quo. ... Time passed day by day. Flash forward, 10 years later. Fangyong is 18 years old and has transformed into a handsome and charming young man. Over the years, Fangyong has been focusing on one thing. That is destruction. That is, the realization of the ultimate intention of self. Fangyong locked himself in the palace and did not allow anyone to disturb him. People who didn't know thought Fangyong was locked in a small dark room by the queen. Although Fangyong had already comprehended self-intention at the age of 8, he condensed destructive energy. But Fangyong is very clear that this strength is not enough for gods of destruction Champa in terms of the entire universe. Therefore, Fangyong must continue to become stronger. Only in this way can we defend our planet and protect our loved ones. After 10 years of hard work, Fangyong's understanding of destruction has made great achievements. Snapped. Fangyong opened the door of the training room, and strode out from inside. Wow, so handsome. His Royal Highness is getting more and more handsome. After seeing Fangyong's appearance, many court ladies also had ruddy complexions, with a shy look on their faces. Fangyong didn't look sideways, striding forward. Shua. Suddenly, the queen's figure flickered and landed directly opposite Fangyong. Mother's queen. Fangyong saluted. My child, you can figure it out. The queen sighed, you have been there for 10 years. Time flies so fast, it's been so long before you know it. Fangyong sighed. Have you figured it out now? When do you plan to marry Xiao? The queen was more concerned about this matter. Has Xiao grown? Fangyong asked. Queen, this little kid has the same virtue as his father. How did you speak? You will be satisfied after reading it. The queen stared. Let's have a look first. Fangyong nodded. If you're satisfied, bring a few more. With me here, you should stop thinking about it. The queen snorted. The queen mother is really unreasonable. Fangyong sighed. When you become number 1 in the universe, I will get you as many queens as you want, the queen said. Fangyong's eyes were shining endlessly at that moment. Really, Fangyong thought that some conditions were needed, but he didn't expect it to be so simple. Of course it's true. When did the queen mother lie to you? The queen nodded seriously, but you have been shutting yourself in for 10 years, and you haven't cultivated well. You should stop thinking about being number 1 in the universe. Didn't you see that your breath is not as good as it was 10 years ago? It's getting weaker and weaker. Ah, Queen Mother, you can't judge strength by breath alone. Fangyong grinned. The energy hasn't improved much, but the verbal skills are getting better and better. The Queen sighed. It seems that the tuba practice is useless. I have to practice the trumpet with your father when I have time. Yeah, come on. Fangyong nodded. I see that the older you get, the more you want to be beaten. You are still well behaved and sensible when you were young. The Queen was sullen. Are you cheering us on for this kind of thing? Fangyong hurried away. Stop. The Queen raised her eyebrows and shouted. Fangyong ran even faster. You tell me to stop and I will stop. No, you came out at the right time. Today is the annual Youth Martial Arts Conference. You also go to the competition. The Queen was so angry that her liver hurt, she immediately followed up and ordered. This is not suitable. Fangyong stopped slowly and shook his head. I am a prince, the future king of Saiyan, how can I participate in this kind of competition? Xiao has already gone to participate in the competition as a princess, what's inappropriate? The Queen said, we are Saiyan, do you really think of yourself as an ordinary prince? It's even more inappropriate for Xiao to show her face in public. Fangyong sighed. Come here, said the Queen. Shua, Shua. The next moment, two young court ladies, Chunhua and Chushi, came quickly from a distance, appeared beside the Queen, and bowed in salute. Take the prince to the martial arts conference, the Queen ordered. Yes, Queen, the two court ladies replied. Shua. The two court ladies quickly stepped forward, one by one grabbed Fangyong's arm. Fangyong, without playing beauty tricks, you call a man over here. I'll slap them flying. You let two beauties come over, I am too embarrassed to hit them. Well, your name is Chushi. Fangyong looked at Chushi and asked. Yes, Your Highness. Chushi nodded with a blushing face. It smells so good. Fangyong moved close to Chushi's body and sucked his nose vigorously. Chushi, how old are you? Fangyong asked again. Return to Your Highness. 36D. Chushi's face became even more ruddy. Fangyong, you answered so well, Queen. What about you? Fangyong asked Chunhua again. I, return to Your Highness, I only have 36C. Chunhua replied with some embarrassment. Chushi proudly puffed out her chest. It's okay, one day it will become a D. Fangyong comforted. The Queen's face was dark, her eyebrows were raised, her face was ashen, and the phoenix crown trembled slightly. Go, the Queen shouted angrily. On the large square outside the palace hall. Today, the annual Youth Martial Arts Conference will be held here. Competitors must be Saiyan, age between 12 and 25 years old, male or female. Just now, the king personally came to the scene to cut the ribbon and give a speech for this grand martial arts conference. At this time, many people had already gathered at the conference site. Besides Saiyan, many aliens came to watch the battle. On the rostrum of the conference stands a throne. The king wears a crown and sits firmly in it with a steady expression. Beside the king are the four guards, standing like four hemp poles. On the other side, there are alien guests invited by the king to watch the battle. There are three important guests. One is Bodama, whose body seems to be made of rubber, with great toughness and high combat effectiveness. The other named Wotai Magata is a large metal man with a hard body, condensed with special metal, weighing 1,000 tons, and has extraordinary strength. The seat of Magada was also built by the king himself, otherwise it would be difficult to bear his weight. The last one is Frost, a righteous warrior from the depths of the universe who maintains the peace of the universe. It is said that in order to eradicate the tragedy of war between planets, Frost led the peacekeeping force and went to various conflict areas to fight bad guys. In addition, Frost is also committed to rebuilding post-war disaster areas and providing assistance to children. He has won the Universe Peace Prize 3 times. The king took care of the 3 guests in every possible way. At this time, the queen flew to take her seat, with a phoenix crown and a rosy cape, like a mother in the world. The queen nodded slightly to the king, which meant that the sun was settled. The king did not speak with a dark face, as if he felt that the queen was a little troublesome, and glanced at the host. Everyone, the annual Youth Martial Arts Conference is now officially started. The host understood and announced loudly with a microphone in his hand, we have selected 10 contestants to participate in this competition after the preliminary selection. As in the past, the 10 contestants. The contestants will step into the arena of the martial arts tournament together for a mixed battle, and the contestant who stays in the arena will be the champion of this year. After the words fell, the 10 contestants stepped onto the ring one by one. The host introduced the players one by one. Wait for all the players to step onto the ring. The host suddenly received a message, and nodded slightly, looking a little excited. According to His Majesty's will, His Royal Highness has just come of age, so the conference invites His Royal Highness to join this competition as a seed player. The host announced. Shua, Chushi and Chunhua, 2 beautiful maids, flew to the ring with Fangyong in their arms. Your Highness, I'm sorry. Chushi said with a blushing face. Your Highness, I'm sorry. Chunhua's face turned rosy. No need to apologize, but for D, come on. Fangyong patted Chunhua's tender hand. Chunhua. Fangyong turned to look at Chushi again. I'll do my best too, fray. Chushi replied. Fangyong wiped his sweat. Do you still need to refuel? The 2 ladies in waiting left quickly, leaving behind the queen. Fangyong immediately became the focus of the audience. The audience talked a lot. The players even showed envy and hatred on their faces. His Royal Highness is so blessed. He was actually put on the ring by 2 beautiful girls. Being a prince is really different. In the last ring, beautiful girls were sent to send them off. Do you want to fix him up later? But he is a prince, what should we do if he retaliates against us in the future? Many players were a little tangled up again. Then, let's invite the referee of this conference, the famous justice fighter in the universe, Mr. Frost. The host announced loudly. There was a loud cheer from the audience. Frost flew up from the position of the guest, suspended in the center of the ring, overlooking the entire venue. Fangyong. This guy actually came to be a referee. This guy who looks a lot like Frieza. But Fangyong didn't say much. Whether Frost is bad or not has nothing to do with Fangyong. As long as he doesn't provoke me, everything is fine. First of all, I would like to thank His Majesty the King for allowing me to serve as the referee for this competition. Frost smiled. Just now His Majesty the King told me in private that although His Royal Highness is also participating in this conference, I hope that all contestants will not use your subordinates. Be merciful, as the Prince of Saiyan, you must have outstanding strength. Perhaps for His Royal Highness, this competition is also a kind of experience. Having said that, Frost looked in Fangyong's direction, and nodded to him friendly. Fangyong pretended not to know. Your Majesty the King is wise. Long live His Majesty the King. The audience shouted excitedly. The contestants were also gearing up one by one, looking at Fangyong more eagerly. So, without further ado, the competition is about to begin. Frost announced, the rules of the competition are the same as in the previous preliminaries. If you fall off the ring, admit defeat or surrender, you will be considered a loser. During the competition, killing people and using weapons are not allowed. Fangyong glanced at Frost. The rules of the competition are quite similar to the world's No.1 martial arts tournament. Fangyong looked at the other 10 players on the scene. Fangyong knew 4 of them. One is Xiao, who considered herself a princess 10 years ago. Today's Xiao is indeed like a fairy descending to earth, she needs to have a figure and a good appearance. Chunhua and Chushi are also pretty. Both sides have their own merits. Fangyong likes Chunhua and Chushi's blushing faces, they are so cute. Xiao looked more mature and stable, but her face had a bit of an iceberg. I don't know if it was 10 years ago, when I said I wanted to bring more princesses back, I made her so angry. The other one is Gabe. The little guy was originally a soldier of the royal family, but now he has grown to a relatively outstanding level. But Fangyong had no dealings with him. The other one is Caulifla. 18 changes in the female college. I don't know if it's because this place belongs to the 3-dimensional world, but in Fangyong's opinion, Caulifla is much more beautiful than he imagined. When I saw her in comics or on TV, her appearance could only be regarded as so-so. But in reality, she feels much more seductive. The last one is Kale, Caulifla's little follower. But Fangyong knew it clearly. Don't look at Kale as just a small follower. But she is the legendary Super Saiyan of the 6th universe. As for the other 6 players, Fangyong basically doesn't know each other. The oldest of these 6 players looks to be around 25 years old, and the youngest is only 12 years old. This age gap, 12-year-old Saiyan looks like a child. And the 12-year-old contestant, at this time, behaved no differently from a kid, just pretending to be young. But everyone is Saiyan, so pretending to be tender is obviously not appropriate. Fangyong glanced around. None can beat. I still don't bully them, just play with them in a normal way. They are all my people. Fangyong glanced in Khalifa's direction. It just so happened that Khalifa also looked towards Fangyong. After noticing Fangyong's eyes, Khalifa grinned and blinked at Fangyong with one eye. Fangyong smiled at her. The stance. Having said that, I haven't seen His Highness the Prince for a long time. Bodama smiled. The last time I saw him, he seemed to be only 5 years old. Yes, more than 10 years have passed without knowing it. The king nodded. But the strange thing is, what is the energy of His Royal Highness? I remember that when he was 5 years old, he had more than this little energy, and he doesn't seem to be hiding his breath now. Bodama asked, a little puzzled. Well, maybe in the past 10 years, something went wrong with my cultivation. The king laughed, and didn't mean to explain in detail. Unfortunately, if he cultivates hard, he may have the possibility to surpass His Majesty the King. Bodama sighed. Tea, Mr. Bodimo. The king invited with a toast. Thank you. Bodimo picked up the teacup. Drink the magma, Mr. Magetta. The king raised his glass to Magetta again. Magetta nodded, and drank the magma in the cup in one gulp. A jet of black gas erupted from Magetta's head. Queen, is it appropriate for the prince to participate in the competition? What a shame if you lose. The king whispered back. Your Majesty, only in this way can our children grow up quickly. The queen replied plausibly, how can you see a rainbow without going through wind and rain? No one can succeed casually. The king was taken aback and answered casually. What mess? The queen stared. I heard my son sing this song the other day. Don't tell me, it's very nice. The king said with a smile, if we have another child, we don't have to worry about the heir. Let Fangyong be the heir. A musician is also a good choice. You'd better stop thinking about it for me. If you dare to have children with other women, I will break your legs. The queen rolled her eyes and said in a low voice. However, in front of many subjects and guests, the queen also knew how to measure and did not show it. The king laughed and said nothing. How long do you think Fangyong can last? Asked the queen. It depends on his luck. The king sighed. After a while of silence. Don't worry, do you really think I will embarrass our child? The queen smiled. Did you forget that Xiao is also in the ring? You mean, do you want to repeat our match back then? The king suddenly thought of something and sighed helplessly. The queen showed a faint smile. The 98th Youth Martial Arts Tournament of Planet Shadara is now officially started. Frost announced loudly. After the words fell, 4 of the young people rushed towards Fangyong without any hesitation. In this match, defeating His Highness the Prince will gain a huge reputation. As the future King of Saiyan, if we lose in our hands, it is worth our whole life to show off. These 4 young people basically have this idea. The 4 people divided into 4 different directions, coming towards Fangyong. Fangyong just stood there calmly, without any preparations for battle. As far as the 4 of them are at this level, I stand here and let you fight, and you can't break the defense. Of course, it is impossible for Fangyong to be a sandbag for them to hit. Fangyong decided to slap them one by one. It's time to show my true strength. However, Fangyong's idea is very beautiful, but the reality is a little different. Shua. Ziyao and Khalifa quickly appeared beside Fangyong. If you want to challenge His Royal Highness, you must first pass the level of my princess. Ziyao shouted coldly. If you want to challenge His Royal Highness, pass my level first. Khalifa shouted from the side. Both girls shouted in unison. Just after shouting, Khalifa obviously felt a little shorter. I am the best friend of His Highness the Prince. Khalifa hastily added, for fear that the princess might misunderstand. I am indeed a good friend of Fangyong. The 2 of us practiced together for 3 years. I absolutely do not allow others to hurt His Highness the Prince. Also, I really hit the spot. Did you really come back to choose a concubine 10 years ago? Xiao's face was cold, her body exuded cold air, and she turned a blind eye to Khalifa's words and actions. Boom! An extremely powerful aura erupted from the bodies of the two girls at the same time. Bang! Bang! The two shot at the same time, parrying the four players who rushed over. Fangyong, what happened to this? Makes me feel like I need a woman's protection. It's not suitable, just let me come. Fangyong hurriedly greeted Ziyao and Caulifla. Bang! Bang! However, the two girls did not intend to listen. Accompanied by two muffled bangs, two of the contestants were sent flying by Ziyao and Caulifla. The two contestants drew an arc in the air and fell out of the ring all at once. Slap! Both players landed at the same time. Ziyao glanced at Caulifla with a complicated expression. This girl is not simple. Just watch her game during the preliminaries. However, I am a princess, so I did not participate in the preliminaries. Like His Royal Highness, I participated in the competition as a seed player. I didn't expect such a powerful girl in Saiyan. It feels like her strength is not much different from mine. Caulifla was also a little surprised. Is there a girl as strong as me besides me? I will not lose to you. Caulifla focused her attention, and her body exploded with energy again, grabbing the arm of another rushing player. Caulifla flicked vigorously, and the player flew upside down. Not to be outdone, Ziyao kicked out and hit the other contestant in the abdomen. The contestant slid backwards, rubbing his feet against the ground of the ring, leaving two long marks on the ground. The moment the player was about to be eliminated. Boom! The player from Caulifla slammed into this player's body. Snapped! The player from Caulifla seemed to be hit by a billiard ball. He rubbed against the opponent's body and bounced the opponent back into the ring, but he himself flew out directly. Snapped! The contestant from Caulifla fell to the ground and was eliminated. The player Ziyao attacked landed about 2 meters away from the edge of the ring. Hey, I won! Caulifla grinned. Ziyao's face turned cold, and she glared at Caulifla. Are you provoking this princess? You are shameless, Ziyao said coldly. Anyway, I won. Caulifla snorted. It didn't count just now. Ziyao snorted coldly, and waved her jade hand forward lightly. Boom! An invisible energy hit the person just now. Call out. The contestant who was defeated by Ziyao before fell out of the ring. As soon as the game started, 4 players were eliminated. Fangyong, my wife is so fierce. This thing got. I seem to have become a prince who eats soft rice. Princess, concubine, concubine, Caulifla, Caulifla, Caulifla. The audience applauded and shouted the names of Princess and Caulifla. Ziyao's face turned slightly cold. You shout. I feel like the princess is like Caulifla. Everyone, the competition lasted less than a minute, and 4 contestants have already been eliminated. Frost suspended in the air, announced loudly, and said with a smile, according to my personal guess, it seems that this competition, the most promising ones to win the championship and runner-up are the princess and Miss Caulifla. Shua. After Ziyao eliminated that player, she exuded a cold aura, and immediately rushed towards another player. This player is the youngest player of that age. Caulifla didn't stay idle either, and immediately rushed to the opposite of the other player. Bang! Bang! The 2 girls attacked the 2 players again. Accompanied by 2 muffled bangs, the 2 contestants persisted for less than 10 seconds and were eliminated one after the other. This time, Caulifla's player was a little weird in terms of speed, which made Caulifla eliminate him one step later. HMPH, I won. Ziyao snorted. It's clear that your player is weaker than mine. Caulifla replied plausibly. Come again. Ziyao didn't intend to admit defeat, and immediately rushed towards Gabe. Cal. Caulifla greeted Kale. Kale scratched his head. Without the slightest hesitation, he jumped off the ring directly. Miss Kale voluntarily abstained after 2 minutes of the match. Frost announced again, now, there are only 4 contestants left in the ring. Let us wait and see who will be the final champion. I won. Caulifla smiled brightly. Ziyao. Shameless. Ziyao popped out these 2 words from between her teeth. Still playing with it like this? Just let your partner jump off the ring. The match lasted about 2 minutes, and there were only 4 people left in the ring, including Fangyong. Fangyong silently wiped his sweat aside. These people are not enough to fight. Snapped. Gabe raised his arm, blocking Ziyao's attacking fist. Boom. It's just that Ziyao's speed was too fast, and she kicked it fiercely, hitting Gabe's chest on the spot. Gabe's body slid backwards and appeared on the edge of the ring. One foot was already in the air, and he almost fell out of the ring. Hey! Caulifla took the opportunity to make up the knife, and pushed forward with both hands in the air, and invisible energy acted on Gabe's body. Boom! Gabe fell out of the ring. At 3 minutes and 21 seconds into the game, player Gabe was eliminated. Frost announced again. Look, I won again. Caulifla grinned. Ziyao's face became even colder, and her chest heaved up and down with anger. Now that the game has progressed, there are only 3 people left in the ring. Fangyong, Ziyao and Caulifla. Your Majesty, does this scene look like our match back then? The Queen smiled. It was I who defeated all the contestants for Your Majesty back then. It's not like that at all. You were the only one back then, but our son has an extra woman. The King replied truthfully. The Queen's face turned cold. Are you just reminding me that I want another woman? There was a brief silence. But having said that, this little girl's strength is not bad, she feels comparable to Ziyao. The Queen took a deep breath and changed the subject. Her name is Caulifla. According to my research, Fangyong has been with her for 3 years. The King smiled and said, ha ha ha, not bad, I think this little girl is more suitable for Fangyong. Although she is about the same strength as Ziyao, her playful and smiling face is obviously not suitable for being a princess, nor is she suitable for becoming a future queen. The Queen replied expressionlessly. It's okay, train, and you will behave in the future. The King laughed. Besides, we Saiyan don't have so many rules for ordinary people. The Queen doesn't want to talk to the King anymore. Actually, let Fangyong marry them both, so as to contribute more to the blood of our royal family. The King said with a smile. I already told Fangyong, unless he becomes #1 in the universe, don't even think about it. The Queen snorted. Universe first. The King secretly wiped his sweat. Your cake is a bit big. That's universe #1. Only humans. You don't mean to count gods of destruction too? The King asked. Of course it's only human beings. Do you think our son's level can surpass gods of destruction? The Queen replied angrily. It seems, can't. The King shook his head. So far, there is no human being who can surpass gods of destruction. So my request is not too much, right? Becoming the #1 human being in the universe can satisfy your father and son's request to spread branches and leaves for the royal family. The Queen smiled. Do I count too? The King's face showed surprise. The Queen's face darkened. Speaking of son, why are you joining in the fun? Okay, you can count. As long as your son can become the #1 in the universe, I will allow you to take a concubine. The Queen gritted her teeth and said to the King. Anyway, the possibility of such a thing is almost slim. Although our Saiyan is a fighting nation. But there are many powerful characters in the universe. Universe first, easier said than done. Your Majesty, the little prince is so lucky. Bodemo said with a smile, you don't need to do it yourself, the 2 women around you can help him get it done. Yes, yes, the King laughed, suddenly thought of something, and hurriedly said, if there is a chance in the future, I hope that Mr. Bodama can teach him well. Yes, of course, no problem. Bodemo nodded and readily agreed, I can teach him some basic fighting methods. Then thank you in advance here. The King thanked. Your Majesty, the King is very polite. Bodama waved his hand. Mr. Magetta, drink the magma. The King raised his glass. Magetta nodded, and drank the magma in the cup in one gulp. The audience also applauded at this time, cheering loudly for the performance of the 2 girls. In the arena, Ziyao and Caulifla looked at each other, sparks sparked in their eyes. Then, let's fight it out. Caulifla looked at Ziyao with a smile. Shameless woman. Ziyao snorted. The 2 women faced each other tit for tat, ready to fight. Fangyong looked at Ziyao, then at Caulifla. Wait a minute, wait a moment. Fangyong hastily dissuaded him. Don't fight here. Can't you play slowly when you go home? Play whatever you want at home. Better get rid of all your clothes. I love watching girls fight. However, my woman, can't let these people watch. Ziyao glanced at Fangyong. Caulifla blinked at Fangyong. There's no need to compete here, it doesn't really matter who is #1. Fangyong smiled. Important, Ziyao and Caulifla said loudly in unison. Fangyong was speechless. Humph. The next moment, Xiao and Caulifla looked at each other again, and let out cold snorts, looking at each other disliked. Whoa, whoa. Immediately afterwards, the two girls rushed towards each other without any more nonsense, and started a fierce confrontation. Bang bang bang. The speed of the two girls was getting faster and faster, and their energy was getting higher and higher, leaving two phantoms on the ring. The two girls fought from the ground to the air, and it was difficult to tell the winner for a while. Now that the competition has reached a fever pitch, is Miss Caulifla winning or Princess Xiao winning? Frost said with a smile, let us cheer for them. The audience at the scene also cheered for the two girls. Now that the competition has progressed, more and more people have begun to support Caulifla. Of course, many people still support Xiao. Boom. Xiao punched Caulifla in the face. Caulifla hit Xiao's chest with a backhand palm. The two rolled somersaults in the air and landed slowly. Whoa, whoa. Xiao and Caulifla took a break, and rushed towards each other again. The two girls punched and kicked each other, and soon they wrestled together and started a close combat. It seems that Princess Xiao and Miss Caulifla are evenly matched. Let us applaud them with warm applause. Frost greeted them loudly with a smile on his face. Ah, the audience is also very excited. The battle between the two was really exciting and intense. Right now, Princess Xiao and Caulifla have started to attack each other at close range. Well, this is a wrestling technique at the moment, let's see which of the two of them will fall to the ground first. Frost announced again. Great opportunity. Fangyong's eyes lit up, and a hungry tiger pounced on the two girls. Call out. Just like that, Fangyong rushed out of the ring with Xiao and Caulifla, and fell towards the outside of the ring. You, what are you doing? Xiao exclaimed. You. Caulifla did not expect Fangyong to do such a thing. We haven't decided yet. Are you going to knock us both out at the same time? Xiao and Caulifla also reacted extremely quickly. The moment they fell out of the ring, they had to mobilize their energy so that they would not fall. Fangyong secretly released divine power, quickly covering the bodies of the two girls. Xiao was stunned. Caulifla also showed a look of confusion. Immediately afterwards, the two girls sensed that the energy released by themselves seemed to be suppressed by something, and it had no effect at all. Everyone was stunned. No one thought that the prince would make a move at this time. Even the referee Frost was a little confused at this time. Slap. In full view, Fangyong just had Xiao in his left hand and Caulifla in his right, hugged them and fell to the ground, falling out of the ring. All three were eliminated together. Frost. Frost didn't know how to judge for a while. There was no sound at the scene. Many viewers looked at Prince Fangyong in astonishment. Your Royal Highness is too shameless. Those two girls are fighting for you. In the end, you actually eliminated them both. And even hugged the two of them and jumped off the ring together. No one expected such a result. Frost didn't know how to judge. There is no such precedent. The three of them fell off the ring together. The way to win the conference is to be the last one to stay in the ring to be the champion. There can't be no championship, or three championships, right? Frost immediately flew to the king's side to discuss the next judgment with him. Fangyong got up and pulled Xiao and Caulifla up with each hand. HMPH. Xiao snorted, immediately withdrew her hand, and gave Fangyong a cold look. If it wasn't for you, I'd definitely beat this woman with explosive hair. Fangyong, long time no see. Caulifla let Fangyong hold her hand and smiled at him. Xiao suddenly felt that her hair was green. I am the princess. I am the future queen of Saiyan. I can't let this woman take my place. You should be called His Royal Highness. Xiao snorted. You don't care, what I want to call is my freedom. Caulifla made a grimace. You dare to be rude to this princess? Xiao said angrily. Are you really the princess? Have you held a wedding? Caulifla asked with a giggle. Xiao's mouth was stupid, she couldn't say anything about Caulifla, her iceberg-like face was flushed. Don't quarrel, you have to learn to live in peace. Fangyong quickly acted as a peacemaker. Humph. Xiao and Caulifla looked at each other disliked, and after looking at each other, they immediately snorted and turned their heads aside. At this time, after discussing with the king and queen, Frost immediately flew into the sky. Now I announce that the overall champion of the 98th Youth Martial Arts Tournament on planet Shadara is our prince. Frost said loudly. There was deathly silence. You are shady. Are you a champion? His Royal Highness, Princess Xiao and Miss Khalifa fell off the ring at the same time, but it is worth mentioning that Princess Xiao and Miss Khalifa touched the ground outside the ring first. Frost held the microphone explained, "Everyone, please look at the big screen." Snapped. The slow motion of Fangyong landing with Xiao and Khalifa immediately appeared on the big screen. This shot, Fangyong thought it was so eye-catching after seeing it. The movement of my hungry tiger rushing to eat is really beautiful. On the big screen, Fangyong hugged Xiao and Khalifa in his arms, and fell to the ground abruptly. According to the replay of the camera, Xiao landed on her butt first, and Khalifa was a little late. The reason is that Xiao's butt is a bit bigger than Khalifa's. Immediately afterwards, Fangyong's arm fell to the ground. The audience present fell silent. Your Royal Highness is too shameless. He actually let these two girls serve as meat pads for him. Everyone can see it clearly. Frost asked with a smile, "Now, does anyone have any objections?" No one disagrees. Because Frost was right, although His Royal Highness is a bit invincible. But he was lucky. Fangyong inexplicably won a championship. In this conference, the runner-up is Miss Khalifa, and the third runner-up is Princess Xiao. Frost announced with a microphone. The audience cheered symbolically a few times. Throughout the entire game, His Royal Highness did not make a move. In the end, a hungry tiger came and rushed to eat, throwing the two beautiful girls off the ring. The main reason is that these two girls are too beautiful. Many people of the same age also want to pounce like the prince. But there is no such blessing. So many people had no choice but to secretly despise the prince's shameless behavior. On shamelessness, you mean it. Many people said that the prince is idle, shutting himself in a small dark room all day long, not knowing what he is doing. It is said that in order to prevent His Royal Highness from doing bad things, the Queen dismissed many maids for this reason. The royal family is not as good as one generation after another. It is indeed not easy for the royal family to rule Saiyan for more than 2,000 years. The main reason is that the royal family has always had a relatively powerful queen in recent years. It is said that the previous queens were very strong. This queen is also older than Wang Chang. It seems that the next queen did not run away either. Saiyan, it feels like the yin is flourishing and the yang is declining. After one game, all the men were eliminated. On the contrary, the two girls fought evenly in the ring. Among the young people of this generation, the most powerful one seems to be the young man named Gabe, right? The result was not enough for Princess Xiao to beat her 3 times. His Royal Highness did not contribute much, and won the championship by relying on his own shamelessness. Many male compatriots hung their heads in shame. Your Highness, why don't you have the ability to set an example? You are our future king. When it comes to fighting, you seem to be incapable at all. Many people shook their heads and sighed, feeling that Saiyan's future is worrying. Then, the 98th Youth Martial Arts Tournament of Planet Shadara has come to an end. Frost announced again, His Royal Highness, Miss Khalifa, and Princess Xiao are invited to accept the award on the royal platform. Kale waved to Khalifa excitedly. Khalifa also smiled slightly at Kale. Seeing this, Fangyong helplessly shook his head again. A game made you this way. The most powerful Kale actually didn't make a move, and was directly kicked off the ring by Khalifa. It seems that Saiyan's game has to be replanned. If this goes on, our family is useless. It can't be compared with the 7th universe. However, Fangyong also discovered that Saiyan of the 6th universe has a very powerful advantage. That is, most Saiyans on Shadara have a peaceful heart. At the same time, the S cells in their bodies also grew to the extreme invisibly. Now they are only missing an opportunity to transform into Super Saiyan. Under the leadership of the king, these guys have a very good mentality, almost to the point of lying down. Rarely does a huge mood swing occur. Therefore, it is normal that there is no Super Saiyan born. When Fangyong was thinking about making some plans for Saiyan's future, he suddenly felt his hands soften. Fangyong looked down and suddenly found Xiao actually held her hand. Your Highness, let's go up to receive the award, Xiao said softly. Fangyong, woman oh woman, learn to be jealous so quickly. Together. Fangyong was not used to Xiao's problems, and the other hand directly grabbed Khalifa's hand. HMPH, scumbag. Ziyao's chest heaved up and down in anger. She curled her lips, and immediately let go of Fangyong's hand. Let's go. Fangyong didn't care, and flew towards the king with Caulifla. Ziyao's face turned pale with anger, and she fell on the other side of Fangyong with a cold expression, sullen. The king stood up, took out 3 medals, handed the silver and bronze medals to the queen, and personally stepped forward to give the gold medal to Fangyong to hang around his neck. The queen gave the silver medal to Caulifla with a blank expression. Immediately afterwards, the queen walked across to Ziyao and took her hand. Although you are the 3rd runner-up, it doesn't mean that you lose to her in strength. The queen comforted. Yes, Queen Mother, Ziyao replied quickly. Fangyong. Why do you call me Queen Mother? Are we married? The little girl has a sweet mouth. Did you get my consent? Or you bridle with me? Little girl, this king is very satisfied with your performance this time. The king smiled at Caulifla, then lowered his voice and asked, Miss Caulifla, I wonder if you are married. No, Caulifla replied. That's good, that's good. The king nodded in satisfaction. Your Majesty, can I still fight for the position of princess? Caulifla grinned. Of course. The king had just said this when he saw the queen looking towards him with a look of anger in her eyes. The king quickly shut up. Well, we'll talk about the princess later. The king laughed. What? I thought you agreed. Caulifla looked unhappy. Call out. Suddenly, a purple figure flashed past. Like lightning, the purple figure quickly struck towards the king's chest. The king was startled, his expression changed again and again, and he hurriedly backed away. Fangyong took a closer look, and suddenly discovered that the person who made the shot was actually hit. This guy is worthy of being a killer. Well hidden. Even I didn't sense your breath. I don't know where it was hidden before. Now suddenly ran out to assassinate the king. Wait a moment. Didn't the father say it before? The queen mother wanted to find a killer to assassinate him in order to improve his reaction ability. How did you find the killer in the past 10 years? Or have other killers been here in the past 10 years? They were all defeated by their father. Of course, Fangyong is also very clear. The queen mother did not intend to kill the king by doing this. Although the two of them usually fight and fight, there is still a relationship between husband and wife. Fangyong could still see this. Therefore, Hit assassinated the king suddenly. Fangyong did not intervene on the sidelines. The king's reaction speed was indeed quite fast, and after taking a few steps back, the aura surged from his body crazily. The powerful air flow centered on the king and spread to the surroundings. Snapped. As soon as the king raised his hand, he blocked Hit's fatal blow. Such a turn of events caused everyone present to widen their eyes with astonishment, and did not recover for a while. Hit's face was cold, but he didn't expect to miss it. This king of Saiyan is stronger than imagined. Fangyong was also a little emotional on the sidelines. It seems that in these years, father and king have been assassinated quite often. It can be seen from his reaction speed just now. If it were me 10 years ago, if I didn't change my shape, I might have been recruited. The queen mother is well-intentioned. Now the father can even dodge Hit's sneak attack. Not simple, not simple. Presumptuous, the queen yelled, and her reaction was extremely fast. The energy on her body exploded, and she punched Hit in the face. Shua. Hit retreated quickly and immediately flew into the sky. The audience was in an uproar. At this time, many people also recognized Hit immediately. Isn't that the universe's #1 killer Hit? Why did he come to assassinate our king? Many Saiyans present were talking about it. Swish 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 swish. The 4 guards of Dongfang, Nanfang, Zaifeng, and Baifeng quickly stepped forward and surrounded Hit in the middle. Ziyao and Caulifla immediately protected the king separately. Hit looked calm, his eyes were indifferent, with a touch of killing intent. Hey, queen, are you too cruel? The king looked at the queen with a dark face and lowered his voice. What? The queen was taken aback. This time you actually asked Hit, the #1 killer in the universe, to kill me. Are you serious? The king smiled wryly. What are you talking about? It's not me. The queen frowned and shook her head solemnly. I was taken aback. I thought you were trying to usurp the throne. The king breathed a sigh of relief. Stop joking. Let's deal with this trouble first. The queen said in a deep voice, knowing that this killer is not easy to deal with. Is he really not sent by the queen mother? Fangyong was also slightly taken aback. Even you think so? The queen felt that she had failed too much. My own son actually began to doubt me. Hit, aren't you Hit, the #1 killer in the universe? Have you misunderstood? Frost hurried forward and greeted Hit as a good old man. Get out, Hit said a word coldly. Frost scowled. This stuff doesn't give me face at all. Do I want to turn into the final form and give him a good meal? Fung Lord, if I want to kill you, no one can stop me. Hit said coldly. The king showed a question mark on his face. I'm a fool. Listen well, I only kill Hunjin, and the others have nothing to do with this matter. Hit said with a cold face, retire immediately. Otherwise. Bang 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 bang. The next moment, Hit made a quick move, punching and kicking one by one, kicking the 4 guards down from the air at that time. The 4 guards were like paper in front of Hit. They were hit instantly and fell to the ground one by one. They were already injured and temporarily lost the ability to fight. Everyone present was stunned. Even the 4 major guards are not Hit's opponents. This guy deserves to be the #1 killer in the universe. The king's face also changed again and again. The queen's expression also became more dignified, standing side by side with the king. The person I want to kill has never missed. Hit smiled contemptuously. Call out. Hit turned into a stream of light again, roaring towards the king. Whoa, whoa. Xiao and Caulifla rose into the air and attacked Hit. Humph. Hit sneered contemptuously, turned sideways slightly, dodged Caulifla's fist, and slapped her on the back. Boom. Caulifla fell from the sky and fell heavily to the ground, leaving a hole in the ground. Snapped. Immediately afterwards, Hit raised his hand lightly, blocking Xiao's attacking kick. Boom. Hit slapped Xiao's left shoulder again. Xiao staggered and flew upside down, hitting the ring below, spurting a mouthful of blood. The 2 Saiyans who can fight the most in the youth martial arts competition, that's all. A contemptuous smile appeared on Hit's face again. Shua. Bodimo immediately flew up. Magetta took a sip of magma, strode forward, and looked up at Hit. You two, let me say it again for the last time, this matter has nothing to do with you. Hit said coldly. Hit, it must be a misunderstanding. How can Saiyan's king be a foolish king? Bodimo hurriedly persuaded. I'm only responsible for killing people with money, whether I'm a fool or not has nothing to do with me. Hit sneered. Cuckoo, whisper. Magetta spewed a breath of hot air from his head, gearing up, ready to fight. You pile of scrap metal, it's better not to join in the fun here. Hit smiled coldly. Magetta stared, and felt 100,000 points of critical damage at that time. Puff. Magetta's head sprayed out streaks of black gas, and his body quickly turned white, losing its color. Bang. Magetta crashed to the ground, unconscious. Everyone present was stunned. How did Magetta become like this after being scolded? Are you deliberately not wanting to fight? Bodimo was frightened to the side. Is this a magic attack? This guy Hit didn't do anything, just said a word, and Magetta, who is stronger than me, just passed out. Bodimo's complexion changed again and again, and he was a little bit stuck. Mr. Bodimo, this matter has nothing to do with you. Calm down, the king said calmly to Bodimo. How can this be possible? Aren't we friends? If we are friends, we should stand up for our friends when they are in danger. Bodama said eloquently. However, after Bodimo finished speaking, he suddenly clutched his stomach. I'm sorry, my stomach hurts a little, I'll go for convenience first, and I'll take care of him when I come back. After Bodama finished speaking, he immediately slipped away. However, Bodama did not go far away, but watched the battle silently from a distance. Bodamo also wanted to see what would happen next. Then, Hit snorted coldly, killing intent appeared on his face. Call out. Hit no longer hesitated, turned into a stream of light, and roared towards the king's position. Be careful, your majesty. The queen turned pale with shock. Snapped. The queen immediately appeared in front of the king, and the energy exploded on her body, and she was about to block the attack for the king. Fangyong was by the king's side, ready to make a move at any time. Fangyong decided to find out the real culprit behind this incident. Who is going to assassinate the king? What a great deal. Even Hit, the #1 killer in the universe, was bought here. Hit's fist was getting closer and closer to the queen's head. Just when Fangyong was about to pull the queen back. Snapped. Suddenly, Fangyong suddenly felt an extremely powerful aura emerging from his side. Fangyong turned his head to look, and suddenly found that the king's body was full of golden light, his hair stood up high, and he had already turned into a Super Saiyan. Fangyong was happy then. Yes, father, hidden so deep. You actually turned into a Super Saiyan. You can become like this, why are you still beaten like a dog by your wife? Fangyong could tell that the queen would not become a Super Saiyan. After the king turned into Super Saiyan, he grabbed the queen's arm and pulled her back from the front. Snapped. The king raised his hand lightly and caught Hit's attack with his own hand. Hit froze for a moment, never expecting the king to transform at this time. The next moment, Hit's fist hit the king's palm. The king shrank his hand back a little, and he also felt Hit's powerful strength. The king was shocked. It is worthy of being the #1 killer in the universe. I have become a Super Saiyan, and my energy has been increased by at least 50 times, so I can barely catch his fatal blow. How strong is this guy? Your Majesty. You. The queen's eyes widened, showing shock on her face. Queen, as the king of a country, I can't let you protect me all the time, can I? The king smiled. Boom. As he said that, the king grinned, punched quickly, and rushed towards Hit's chest. Hit retreated quickly, raising his arm to block the king's fist. The powerful energy of the king shocked Hit back several meters. Snapped. The energy on Hit's body released slightly, and stopped immediately. After seeing the transformation of the king, the audience was shocked. What is that golden change? Looks like, what Super Saiyan? What, Super Saiyan, the most powerful warrior in the universe according to legend. I didn't expect our king to be so powerful, he can turn into a Super Saiyan. All the Saiyans present were both surprised and delighted. The 4 guards immediately got up from the ground and returned to the king's side as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Then, what is that? Caulifla had never seen such a transformation. Turtle, isn't it? It's called Super Saiyan. It's normal that you country bumpkin hasn't seen it before. Ziyao snorted and wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. You've been beaten like that, and you still know how to laugh at me. Caulifla said with a smile. You're still laughing, you're not badly injured. Ziyao snorted coldly. The king and Hit looked at each other. Hit looked calm. After seeing the king's change, he was just a little surprised. This king hasn't been so excited for a long time. The king smiled slightly, looked at Hit with a fighting spirit, and told everyone, don't do anything, let this king come and have a good meeting with this universe. The #1 killer. With that said, the king slowly flew towards Hit, already in a fighting posture. The heroes were excited and cheered for the king one after another. You were hired by King Dar? The king asked with a smile. As a killer, the most basic principle is to keep the employer secret. Hit snorted. There should be no one else but him. The king smiled. This group of evil guys actually called me a fool. Isn't it? It's not important anymore. If you take the money, you have to do things for others. Hit replied lightly, with endless contempt still on his face. Before, it only took 1,000th of the power to kill you, but now it seems that you have to use 50,000th of the power. No, I'm a killer. Today I have missed again and again. I still use 1% of my power to kill you quickly and go to hand in the task. Killing intent appeared on Hit's face, and he was about to attack the king again. Fangyong knew that if he didn't make a move, his father would die on the spot. Shua, with a movement of his body, Fangyong quickly appeared beside the king. Chapter 11. Fangyong, stand back, what are you doing up here? The king was taken aback, and immediately shouted. Father, it's just dealing with a killer, using Super Saiyan is a bit of a fuss. Fangyong smiled. Don't mess around, he is the #1 killer in the universe. The king lowered his voice and said to Fangyong, I'm afraid even if I am Super Saiyan, I have no chance of completely winning. Fangyong stared into the king's firm eyes. It seems that the father is still a little self-aware. I thought you were boasted by the people, thinking that you really became the #1 in the universe. Fangyong, if the father is gone in the future, I hope you will take good care of your mother. The king looked serious. Father, don't say it so sadly, Super Saiyan is a very powerful fighter. Fangyong said with a smile, Father doesn't need to use strength to deal with such a guy, let me fight instead of you. Why didn't you listen to the persuasion, kid? Get out quickly. The king was anxious. It's time to show your true strength. Next, I'll let everyone see a level slightly lower than Super Saiyan. Well, it's called Advanced Saiyan. Fangyong said. A purple light suddenly flashed on his body, and his hair stood tall. It rose and quickly turned purple. A series of purple-red flames burned with Fangyong as the center. The breath of God erupted. Everyone present was stunned, watching the strange change of the prince without blinking. No one has ever seen such a transformation of Saiyan. Advanced Saiyan 1 level below Super Saiyan. Many Saiyans were a little confused. Is there a senior Saiyan to say? Moreover, why did the aura on your body disappear all of a sudden after you transformed? Even the king was confused. How did this child become like this? Why is the color of your body purple? I've never heard of a senior Saiyan either. Queen. The queen's eyes widened, her eyebrows raised, and the phoenix crown on her head trembled slightly. Together with you father and son, put me here to pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger. A senior Saiyan, a Super Saiyan. You father and son are too much. Senior Saiyan. Caulifla was stunned. Xiao also opened her mouth slightly in shock, unable to speak. His Royal Highness will become like this. It's just. Why did you become breathless after this transformation? I can't feel your breath at all. Where does your energy go? The 4 guards of East, West, North, South, you look at me, I look at you, and look at Prince Fangyong. It's him. The person who appeared above the palace 10 years ago is His Royal Highness. How blind we are. I didn't recognize it. However, this transformation of His Royal Highness does look a bit unrecognizable. Besides, His Royal Highness had been away from home for 3 years. Suddenly appearing like this, who knew it would be you? And your eyebrows are deeply embedded in the eye sockets, which looks a bit evil. We thought you were a killer. The unsolved mystery of 10 years ago finally has an answer. At the scene, only Hit's expression became extremely solemn. Hit wanted to scold her. Are you saying that your transformation is 1 level lower than your father's? Why do I feel that your transformation is obviously a qualitative leap? Your energy has transformed. It seems to have become a god. What exactly is going on? Father, I apply to fight. Fangyong smiled at the king. Let my senior Saiyan challenge this #1 warrior of the universe. The king was speechless and was a little confused for a moment. When did this kid become like this? What kind of transformation is this? The king didn't know how to answer. Because the aura on Fangyang's body completely disappeared. The king couldn't sense the strength of Fangyang's aura, so he couldn't judge his true strength. Fangyong, are you sure? The king thought for a moment, then asked hastily. It's okay, it shouldn't be a big problem. Fangyong nodded seriously. Then you go. The king thought for a while and replied, Father is here to guard you. Well, you have to take good care of me, father. Fangyong had the posture of wind and water. In case I am defeated, you hurry up to save the field. Don't worry. The king nodded. At this moment, the king really felt. This kid's transformation might be a high-level Saiyan that is 1 level lower than Super Saiyan. Having said that, I asked you 10 years ago if you had ever seen a person with a purplish red light emitting from their body, and you said you couldn't see it, so I understand what it means. The king sighed. Hey, Fangyong grinned. So you will be like this 10 years ago? Asked the king. Yes, Fangyong nodded. So you have been studying how to become Super Saiyan for 10 years? The king asked again. Fangyong, a brief sluggishness. Yes, Fangyong nodded helplessly. Son, come on, it's not that easy to transform into Super Saiyan, and it took a long time for my father to finally figure out the secret of transforming. The king patted Fangyong on the shoulder. Fangyong, defeat him, I will give you Chunhua and Chushi. The queen flew forward and said to Fangyong. Really? Fangyong almost drooled, and immediately searched the crowd for the 2 young court ladies Chunhua and Chushi. What about people? I just like 36. This number is auspicious. Soon, Fangyong found 2 beautiful court ladies Chunhua and Chushi among the crowd. You, wait for me. Fangyong said. Chunhua and Chushi looked at the prince in the sky blushing. Chushi even puffed out her chest. The queen's face turned green. What I told you is to let them serve you, don't think too much about it, the queen said. It's fine to serve, it's okay, just take your time. Fangyong grinned. Or the mother's reward is more realistic. Father, can you give me some practical things in the future? Fangyong said. The king wiped his sweat. I would like to. Isn't everything about women up to your mother's discretion? Have you talked enough? Can we start? Hit said with a cold face. Now, Hit dare not exaggerate. Especially after sensing the powerful divine power released from Fangyong, Hit knew clearly that it would be impossible to destroy the king if he didn't solve the problem in front of him. Come on. Fangyong waved to Hit. The king and queen immediately backed away. The others also looked up at the sky, sweating for their prince. Call out. Hit flew towards Fangyong, at an extremely fast speed, almost fleeting. In an instant, Hit had appeared directly opposite Fangyong, and his fist was coming straight to Fangyang's chest. Snapped. Fangyong raised his hand lightly, easily blocking Hit's attacking fist. Hit's face changed slightly. This guy blocked my attack so easily. My attack just now used at least 80% of my strength. Universe's #1 killer, is this little power? Fangyong smiled. Boom. After Fangyong finished speaking, he slapped Hit with a big kick. With a muffled sound, Hit flew into the sky like a football. Hit rolled in the air and did not know how many somersaults, and finally stopped. Hit's face changed again and again, and the cold sweat on his face slipped down from his face. Why are you so strong? Hit took a deep breath, his expression became more serious, and he looked down. What about people? Hit's eyes widened, and he suddenly found that the little prince had disappeared. What are you looking at? Fangyang's voice sounded behind Hit. Hit's face paled instantly, he turned his head mechanically, and panic appeared in his pupils. Kick me again. Fangyong grinned, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. No. Not good. Hit hastily launched a counterattack. Boom. Fangyong was not polite, and kicked Hit's body with an upside-down golden hook. Hit couldn't resist Fangyang's attack at all, and fell from the sky at that time. Boom. Hit slammed heavily on the ground of the ring, leaving a large crater on the ground. The entire arena also disintegrated and shattered in an instant, with gravel flying around. Everyone at the scene fled. After dodging, everyone watching the battle looked up at the sky, and everyone was shocked, with their mouths opened wide. His Royal Highness actually knocked Hit, the universe's #1 killer, out of the sky. His Royal Highness is the Senior Saiyan. His Majesty the King is Super Saiyan. Advanced Saiyan are so powerful. So how strong is Super Saiyan? After seeing how powerful the prince and king are, many male citizens finally raised their chests up and could show their majesty in front of women. In the past, it was all about the prosperity of Yin and the decline of Yang. Now, our Saiyan men stand up. His Royal Highness is so handsome. His Royal Highness is awesome. Come on, Your Highness. Many women present also immediately cheered for their prince, wishing to run up to imitate the prince and give the prince a life-saving attack. All the male Saiyans were speechless, only hating themselves for not being a Senior Saiyan. How is Hit? I've suffered a heavy blow from His Royal Highness, I'm afraid I've been injured. Even dare to assassinate the king, are you deflated now? Is it arranged by those evil Saiyan? Who knows, maybe it is. Many Saiyans talked about it. Snapped. Hit rushed up from the sky, appeared high above the sky, and hovered directly opposite Fangyong. That's right. Those who can still stand up after being kicked twice by me are the type that can resist beating. Fangyong said with a smile. Call out. Hit didn't say any more, and quickly launched a fierce attack towards Fangyang's position. Flash time. At this moment, Hit didn't dare to be careless anymore, and used the flash time at that time. Time stopped briefly at this moment. Hit smiled coldly, and poked Fangyang's chest fiercely with his finger. I believe that this blow should be able to pierce this kid's heart. It's just a pity. At such a young age, I was beaten to death. However, just when Hit thought his fingers were going to penetrate Fangyang's chest, he suddenly found that the corners of Fangyang's mouth curved upwards. What? Hit was stunned. Didn't I use flash time? How could this be? Snapped. Fangyong raised his hand lightly, and directly clamped the finger that attacked Hit with his index finger and middle finger. How is it possible? Hit's face changed again and again. Why is my flash time not working? Isn't it possible to stop time? Boom. Fangyong had nothing to do with politeness, and kicked Hit again, kicking him into the sky. Shua. Just for a moment, Fangyong suddenly appeared directly above where Hit was. Hey! Fangyong kicked Hit out of the air again. However, Fangyong didn't wait for Hit to land, and appeared below Hit in a flash. Boom! Fangyong kicked Hit again. All the audience present were stunned, their jaws dropped. Especially Bodimo, wishing to strangle the king to death. King of Saiyan, you are so unkind. Your son is so powerful, you still want me to guide him. I can't beat Hit. Your son is playing Hit now. The audience applauded one after another, cheering for His Royal Highness to raise their fists again. Ziyao was completely dumbfounded. His Royal Highness is so powerful. I thought I had surpassed His Royal Highness by a lot. Khalifa also couldn't recover, but after a short silence. Well, this is the Fangyong I know. I thought you really needed a woman's protection, as the legend said. Really bad. I am not over you. I told you before that I want you to find a woman who is stronger than you to be the princess. I'm digging a hole for myself to jump into. Your Majesty. You also know how to transform your son? The queen asked with an uncertain expression. After all, a high-level Saiyan is a transformation of a lower level than a Super Saiyan. According to the queen's idea, there should be advanced before super. I won't. The king shook his head and replied truthfully, I just jumped to the super class, and I haven't experienced the advanced class. Why do I feel at this moment? The advanced level is stronger than your ultra. The queen muttered in a low voice. King, actually I feel the same way. Maybe that's because I didn't show my true strength. The king laughed. Really? The queen was a little disbelieving. Is this the time to talk about this? I feel that Hit may not have used his full strength. The king's expression suddenly became serious. What? It's all like this, he hasn't shown his full strength yet. The queen was slightly moved. Hey, Hit was really beaten out of his temper, and the energy in his body surged crazily. Snapped. Hit stopped immediately in the air. Hit wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his face became a bit hideous. The air is full of endless killing intent. Boom. Hit's body suddenly burst out with more powerful energy, and a layer of dark blue light emerged, covering his whole body. Hasn't this guy really done it yet? The queen's face changed color. As expected of the universe's #1 killer. The king said in a deep voice. You have completely angered me. Prince Saiyan, Hit said coldly, do you really think I will lose to you? After the words fell, Hit let out a cold snort, and roared towards Fangyang's position again. Boom. It was Fangyang's big foot that greeted Hit. Fangyong didn't make any extra moves, just kicked Hit who was rushing up. Hit couldn't fight against Fangyong at all, and was kicked high into the sky by Fangyong again. On the day I left, the World Cup was just about to start, and that's my only regret, let my feet cheer for the World Cup now. Fangyong grinned. Call out. Fangyong followed up, made a gorgeous turn, and kicked directly. Boom. Fangyang's call hit Hit's abdomen on the spot. Ah! Hit let out a scream, his face twisted and deformed, and he rolled quickly in the air. Boom. Hit was kicked heavily to the ground again, and fell directly into the crater below. The ball has been scored. Fangyong cheered. Many people present were confused. What World Cup? What is the World Cup? How come it's still a ball? The World Cup, what is that? Have you heard of it? Queen, the king asked curiously. No, the queen shook her head lightly. What about you, little girl? The king asked Khalifa again, didn't he be with you 10 years ago? Was there any World Cup on the day he left? I don't know, Your Majesty the king. Khalifa was confused. Forget it, it doesn't matter. The king sighed. After a brief shock, the people watching the battle let out excited shouts again. Snapped. Fangyong fell from the sky and appeared on the edge of the big pit. Hey! Fangyong stomped his feet violently. Call out. Hit in the big pit was kicked out by Fangyong at that time. Boom. Fangyong kicked up again, kicking Hit into the sky. Hitter didn't even hum this time. Hit fainted. The queen was stunned. Yes, the king wiped his sweat. My son is too strong. Just kicking the #1 killer of the universe unconscious like that. Hit free falls from the sky. However, Fangyong didn't intend to let Hit go, and drove up again. Hit, who just fell, jumped into the sky again like a football. 10 seconds later, boom, Fangyong kicked hit into the sky again. He's already fainted. The king flew forward and reminded him. I know. Fangyong nodded. The next moment, Fangyong looked at Hit who was falling, and flew up with another gorgeous kick. Call out. Hit flew again. King, let me kick for a while longer. Fangyong grinned. The king wiped his sweat. The queen was silent. The citizens are also dumbfounded. Among the women, the young and beautiful Saiyan cheered for Fangyong. Ziyao, if things go on like this, my position as princess will be lost. No, I also want to become stronger. Caulifla showed even more expectation. I want to become a senior Saiyan too. I will definitely surpass you, Fangyong. After a brief hesitation, Bodimo quickly flew up and appeared beside the king. What's the situation? Why was Hit beaten like this when I went to the toilet? Bodama asked in surprise, pretending not to know. The king glanced at Bodimo. You hid there just now, and I saw it all. Are you really blind? Originally, I wanted to defeat Hit with my own hands. Bodama laughed. I didn't expect His Royal Highness to be so powerful. What a tiger father but no dog son. Ha ha ha, yes. The king smiled, but he didn't bother Bodama. After all, Bodama is a guest here. It's out of love for someone to help, even if they don't, it's reasonable. There is no need to blame the other party for this kind of thing. It has to be said that the king is relatively peaceful and reasonable. Bodamo, I'll pass the ball to you later, you have to catch it. Fangyong suddenly turned his head and looked at Bodamo with a smile. Pass the ball. Bodama was taken aback. Here we come. Fangyong looked at the falling Hit, waved his hands forward, and an energy ball directly covered Hit's body. The energy sealed Hit at that time, and wrapped it into a sphere shining with purple light. Today, let me cheer for the World Cup, Fangyong said, kicking Hit's ball to Bodamo's side. Bodimo panicked. This product is Hit. If he wakes up and knows I'm kicking him, he'll kill me. However, Bodamo is not easy to accept. The little prince was not easy to mess with. Before this kid acted as harmless to humans and animals, he didn't expect to be so narrow-minded. Didn't I just not make a move? Your father and king have forgiven me. But you are holding me by the side. Bodamo gritted his teeth and kicked over. Boom. It's just that Bodama's kick was a little slow, and he accidentally kicked it crookedly. The ball that Hit turned into flew towards Caulifla. Bodamo, are you a male soccer player? Why are your feet so smelly? Fangyong scolded. Bodimo, what is men's football? Caulifla, catch the ball quickly. Fangyong greeted Caulifla. It seems interesting, I'll join. Caulifla flew up without the slightest hesitation, and kicked Hit to Fangyong's side. Fangyong lightly bumped it with his head, and then knocked it twice with his knees. The audience applauded. King, Queen, a good fight turns you into a football game. 7th Universe, Planet Beerus. At the same time that Fangyong and Hit were fighting, Son Goku and Vegeta also had a fierce confrontation on the planet Beerus. Both of them launched violent attacks towards each other in a normal manner. Whis was watching the battle from the sidelines with a faint smile on his face. I want to become stronger, and I want to fight stronger people. Son Goku shouted. HMPH, someone stronger than you is here. Let's talk after defeating me first. Vegeta grinned. Bang bang bang. The attack speed of the two is getting faster and faster. After fighting for several rounds. Snapped. Vegeta grabbed Son Goku's arm and slammed him far away. Son Goku flew out quickly at that time. I am the one who defeated Lord Beerus, I am the Prince of Saiyan, and I am the strongest Saiyan. Vegeta shouted. Vegeta quickly chased after Son Goku. Son Goku was in midair, quickly adjusted his body, put his index finger and middle finger together on his forehead. Shua, Son Goku cast instant transmission and appeared behind Vegeta in an instant. Vegeta's reaction was also extremely fast, and he hastily launched an attack. Son Goku avoided Vegeta's attacks again and again through his own speed and did not confront Vegeta head-on. Vegeta clenched his fist tightly with the veins on his forehead bursting out of hatred. Whis, who was watching the battle in the distance, showed a helpless face. No way, Vegeta's heart has already started to mess up. Whis sighed. Shua, suddenly, Vegeta suddenly sensed a movement behind him. Here, finally found you. Vegeta shouted and punched him. As soon as Vegeta took the shot, he realized that something was wrong. What appeared behind him was actually a wooden stake. Vegeta knew he had been fooled, and his expression changed again and again. Oops. Vegeta immediately sensed that Son Goku's message had appeared behind him. Hey, you've been fooled, Vegeta. Son Goku grinned and raised his fists high. At this critical juncture, snapped, Vegeta no longer had the slightest hesitation, and blue flames immediately burst out from his body. Boom! A powerful energy quickly covered Son Goku's body. Son Goku was knocked to the ground in shock and panic, screaming in pain. A corner of the Gods of Destruction world was also punched out. It hurts, Vegeta. Son Goku scratched the sore place and yelled loudly, didn't it be said that you can't use the transformation of Super Saiyan God in the state of Super Saiyan God? Super Saiyan in the state of Saiyan God, then I also want to become a Super Saiyan in the state of Super Saiyan God. Snapped. As Son Goku said, blue light bloomed on his body, and his hair stood up high. That would be great. Everyone also becomes Super Saiyan in the state of Super Saiyan God, just to compete with each other. This prince is the strongest Saiyan that deserves it, so my Super Saiyan God becomes Super Saiyan as the strongest. Vegeta laughed, excitement written all over his face. That's not it. Son Goku said, my Super Saiyan God turned into a super, ouch, it hurts me. Halfway through Son Goku's words, he cried out in pain. Vegeta showed a look of confusion. One accidentally bit his tongue. Son Goku was in tears. Are you an idiot? Vegeta wiped his sweat. Vegeta, can we change the name of this transformation? It's too long. Son Goku suggested. Snapped. Whis came flying from afar and landed beside Son Goku and Vegeta. Just call it Super Saiyan Blue, how about it? Whis suggested. Vegeta was speechless. Why not call Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Red? Super Saiyan Blue color. Great name. Son Goku was excited. Vegeta gave Son Goku a blank look. Why did I lose to this idiot? I am the Prince of Saiyan. This prince was repeatedly deflated in front of an inferior soldier. Before the two of you compete, I told you not to transform. Whis said with a serious expression, if you don't practice according to the agreement, I will be very embarrassing. Son Goku immediately pointed to Vegeta. It was he who transformed first. The blue flame on Vegeta dissipated and returned to normal. You idiot Kakarot, are you a primary school student? Also learn to complain. Don't think that you can get carried away by defeating the Golden Frieza. Whis said, in this universe, there are still very powerful fighters, and besides our 7th universe, in other universes, there will be powerful warriors born. Other universes? What do you mean? Son Goku scratched his head. We'll talk about this later. Whis said, pointing lightly at the two of them with the scepter in his hand, as a punishment, let you two wear overweight clothes. Snapped. In just an instant, Son Goku and Vegeta put on a set of heavy costumes. The two felt the inconvenience caused by the action at that time. Above the stars, the gods of destruction Champa and Angel Vados of the 6th universe emerged on the far side of the planet Beerus, looking down. The two just came over from the 6th universe. As for Son Goku and Vegeta turning into Super Saiyan Blue, they didn't see it. Vados, who are those two guys? Are they Whis' new apprentices? Champa was taken aback, looking down at Son Goku and Vegeta. Maybe. Vados nodded slightly. Those two guys are really clumsy. Champa shook his head. Why did Whis accept such an apprentice? Maybe it's too boring to be idle. Vados smiled. The egg of the dong-dong bird I brought this time will definitely surpass that guy Beerus. Champa said, and an oval egg appeared in his hand. Yes, in our 6th universe, the eggs of the dong-dong bird are very delicious. Vados nodded slightly. Let's go down, Champa said. Yes, Lord Champa, Vados replied. Whoa. Champa and Vados fell from the sky and landed on the earth of the planet Beerus, appearing beside Whis. Long time no see, Whis. Champa greeted with a smile. Oh, what a rare visitor, isn't this Master Champa? Whis smiled. Son Goku and Vegeta also came back to their senses immediately, and turned to look towards Champa. Hey, that guy is very similar to Master Beerus. Vegeta whispered. Yeah, there is another woman who looks very similar to Mr. Whis. After Son Goku finished speaking, he asked with some uncertainty, is it a woman? Are you an idiot? Vegeta gave Son Goku a blank look angrily. Vegeta, you scolded me again. You can't scold people even if you are a prince. Son Goku scratched his head. HMPH. Vegeta snorted coldly, and pondered, if my guess is correct, maybe they are the other universes Whis just mentioned. Other universes. Are there other universes? Son Goku looked forward to it. Idiots like you can be born in a universe, isn't it normal that there are other universes? Vegeta replied angrily. Son Goku, just know how to swear. Son Goku rolled his eyes. What is Master Champa doing here? Whis asked. Where's Beerus? Champa asked. Master Beerus is resting. Whis replied. Wake him up, Champa ordered. Okay, please wait a moment. Whis said, and immediately flew to call Beerus. Hey, who are you? Son Goku and Vegeta flew over from a distance, asking curiously, you look like the fat Lord Beerus. Champa's face was black at that moment. How rude, this is Master Champa, the twin brother of Master Beerus. Vados glanced at Son Goku and Vegeta, and briefly introduced. Brother, Son Goku suddenly realized. Be careful what you say. Vados said seriously, this is gods of destruction from the 6th universe. What, gods of destruction? After Son Goku and Vegeta heard the news, their faces changed slightly. After a while of surprise. So, who is stronger between you and Master Beerus? Son Goku asked with some expectation. Champa's face darkened again. Don't ask such stupid questions. Don't ask this kind of question. Vados smiled. Look at the physique, don't you understand? Champa. Vados. Champa glared. Oops, what a faux pas. Vados giggled, sounding like a lark singing. Son Goku and Vegeta were speechless for a while. By the way, Whis and I are also siblings. Vados said with a smile, in terms of strength, of course our side has the upper hand. Did you hear it in Vegeta, it's stronger than us. Son Goku said excitedly. What's there to be happy about? Vegeta rolled his eyes. Sister, now I have objections. Whis shouted from a distance, because that happened 1,000 years ago. Really? Want to try? Vados grinned. What the hell are you doing here? You're not here to chat, are you? Beerus stepped forward at this moment and asked with a smile. Long time no see, Beerus. Champa greeted with a smile. You can really sleep, and you have slept for so many years. Stop talking nonsense. If you have something to say, don't disturb my sleep. Beerus said. Didn't you just wake up? Why are you going to sleep again? Champa wiped his sweat. What do you know? This is called returning to the cage. Beerus said angrily, if you don't come, I can sleep a little longer. It's impolite to disturb others when they are fine. Well, we are still the same as before, prepare for the duel, and you can continue to sleep after the duel. Champa said. Then let's get started, Beerus said, immediately took out 2 packs of instant noodles from behind, and put them on the table next to him. Champa also calmly took out 4 dong-dong eggs and put them on the plate. Beerus smiled contemptuously, and poured boiling water into the instant noodles. Champa sprayed flames from his hand, covering the 4 eggs of the thump bird. Beerus, what is this? Champa asked with a smile, isn't it just putting hot water in the cup? And what's yours? Beerus asked curiously. My eggs are called frozen birds, freshly baked, absolutely delicious. Champa laughed and retracted the flame. Well, it's ready. Whis, so the confrontation they talked about is better than whose food is better. Son Goku wiped his sweat silently from the side. I thought the 2 of them would fight. In the earliest days, the 2 of them did fight. Whis smiled, but both of them are gods of destruction, the energy is too strong, and almost accidentally smashed the entire universe. So since then, the 2 have been fighting agreed to have a food contest. So that's how it is. Son Goku understood. At this moment, Beerus took a bite of the frozen bird's egg. Whis also tasted it together. The taste is okay, it can only be regarded as pertinent. But to say it's delicious, that's out of the question. Ha ha ha, how is it? Are you surprised? Champa smiled triumphantly. Sure enough, our 6th universe is the real gourmet paradise. You finish the instant noodles first. Beerus snorted. Champa picked up a few sticks of instant noodles with a fork, wrapped them around for a week, and silently took a sip. Only, with this sip, Champa's eyes lit up, and cold sweat rolled down his face. There is such a delicious thing in this world. Ruined. I actually lost to this guy Beerus. Champa felt that this cup of instant noodles was so delicious that he even drank the soup. Champa let out a breath, shocked in his heart. Vados also wiped his mouth happily. HMPH, let's be so. Champa didn't mean to admit defeat. You drank all the soup. Beerus smiled. Beerus, where did you get these 2 glasses of strange things? Champa couldn't help it anymore, and asked curiously. This is a delicacy on a planet called Earth. Beerus smiled. Not only that, but there are better and more delicacies on Earth than you can eat. Earth. Champa was taken aback, and immediately turned to ask Vados beside him, Hey, Vados, there should be Earth in our 6th universe, right? Search it quickly. Okay, Master Champa. Vados nodded, holding the scepter to search the Earth of the 6th universe. Did he just say, the 6th universe? Vegeta was taken aback. Oh, don't you know? There are 12 universes in total, and the universe we are in is called the 7th universe. Whis explained, Master Champa, they are the 6th universe, and our 2 universes belong to the mirror universe, almost exactly the same. Ours many things in the 2 universes are symmetrical. In addition, the 1st universe and the 12th universe, the 2nd universe and the 11th universe. The number that adds up to 13 is a symmetrical universe. It's the first time I've heard of such a thing. Vegeta was stunned. I don't understand very well, can you say it again? Son Goku showed a confused face. I'll tell you alone later. Vegeta wiped off his sweat and asked again, so, according to you, does the 6th universe also have Saiyan? Maybe. Whis nodded slightly, but he wasn't quite sure. Let's see the situation on Earth over there first. Vegeta stopped talking. Found it, Lord Champa. Vados replied, our 6th universe also has Earth. What? It really is. Vegeta was excited, so there is Saiyan over there. Vados glanced at Vegeta, did not answer, and continued to look at the Earth of the 6th universe. But it's a pity that the Earth of our 6th universe has long been extinct due to a stupid war. Vados sighed. What did you say? Champa's face changed slightly. So, I won't be able to enjoy delicious food in our universe in the future. Where's Saiyan? Vegeta was more concerned about this question. Vados didn't answer, too lazy to talk to him. I also want to eat food. I don't care what Saiyan you are. Ha ha ha, what a pity, Champa. Beerus laughed happily, your universe is no longer able to create super delicious Earthlings. Actually, think about it. We don't know how many crises the Earth has experienced. Even Vegeta wanted to attack the Earth. Son Goku said with a smile. Shut up, Vegeta said with a dark face. Hey, Beerus. Champa gritted his teeth, let's fight it out. What is the outcome, haven't you already lost? Beerus was taken aback. It's a martial arts competition. Champa gritted his teeth and said, if I win, I will exchange our Earth. How about it? He, Champa, do you think you can beat me? Beerus laughed. It's not the 2 of us fighting. It's about selecting humans from our respective universes to compete. How about 5 people tentatively? A team battle of 5 people. Champa bared his teeth and held out 5 fingers. Beerus and Whis were taken aback again. Son Goku showed excitement on his face. Let these 5 people fight one-on-one, and the universe with the most wins in the end will be the winner. Champa chuckled. Good, great, Son Goku exclaimed excitedly. What about Beerus? Are you scared? Why don't you speak? Champa raged. Stop that fart. Beerus snorted. Should each select 5 people for a team battle. Having said that, we won't get anything if we win, it doesn't make any sense. Besides, how can we exchange 2 universes Earth? It can be done with the wishing beads that I have worked hard to collect for 10 years. Champa replied, it is an incredible bead that can make any wish come true. Now I have collected 6 of them, and there is only one more to get them all. If your universe wins, the beads I finally collected can be given to you. Huh, are you talking about Dragon Ball? Son Goku was taken aback and asked hastily. Champa was deflated immediately. Oh, you know Dragon Ball. Vados was also a little surprised. Ha ha ha, Champa, what a pity, we also have that kind of thing in universe. Beerus laughed. This kid is talking about something made on Namek, right? Champa immediately came back to his senses and asked. Is that it? Beerus asked Son Goku. Yes, Son Goku nodded. Sure enough, Champa smiled. The things Namek made are scraps scraped from large wishing beads, and the wishes that can be fulfilled are limited. Authentic wishing beads are very large in size, and one is as big as a planet. To be precise, it should be called the wishing star, a super dragon ball that can make any wish come true. Well, isn't there another one missing? That's pointless. Beerus shook his head. Master Beerus, we can use the Dragon Ball radar made by Bulma to find the last Dragon Ball. Son Goku whispered, please, promise this game, I really want to compete with the people from the 6th universe. Do you want to play? Beerus turned to Son Goku. Yeah, of course I did. Son Goku nodded vigorously. Where's Vegeta? Beerus asked Vegeta again. Hey, do you have Saiyan in the 6th universe? Vegeta asked Vados and Champa. Are you Saiyan? Champa was taken aback. Of course, I am the Prince of Saiyan, and I am the most powerful Saiyan. Vegeta said proudly. Son Goku. Yes, our 6th universe also has Saiyan. Champa nodded. Great, the 6th universe also has Saiyan. Looking forward to it more and more. Son Goku was excited. Can you let them participate in the competition? Vegeta asked a little excitedly. Of course, Champa didn't object. The level of these two Saiyans is average. Saiyan from our 6th universe can play very well. So, Vegeta also wants to participate in the competition. Beerus glanced at Vegeta, nodded, and agreed, okay then, let's compete. In this case, let's briefly discuss the rules of the game. Vados smiled. The two sides quickly drew up a game rules. The rules of the competition are not much different from those of the world's No. 1 martial arts conference. Surrender or fall out of the ring to lose. No weapons, no killing, no doping during competition. In addition, under Vegeta's proposal, a simple written test should be conducted before the competition to prevent mindless monsters from participating in the competition. In the end, the venue was set on an unnamed planet suspended in neutral space. The game time is tentatively scheduled to be 5 days later, at 10 a.m. Earth time. Then, we are leaving, you have to be mentally prepared. Champa said with a smile, our 6th universe is very powerful. HMPH, you are the ones who are prepared. Beerus snorted. Whoa, whoa, the next moment, Champa and Vados turned into two beams of light, quickly sank into the starry sky, and disappeared without a trace. The two took to the skies and returned to the 6th universe not long after. Master Champa, who shall we decide to play in the match? Vados asked. Since the pointy-haired guy talked about Saiyan, let's go to Saiyan's planet. Champa suggested. Yes, Master Champa. Vados nodded without objecting. 6th universe, planet Sadara, first football field. This is a small court that Fangyong ordered his subordinates to build on the spot. It was transformed from the previous arena, which saves a lot of trouble. Just add 2 goals. Many spectators outside the stadium watched the game. Caulifla, pass the ball. Fangyong greeted. Here we go. Received. Caulifla nodded and kicked a ball. The football flew towards Fangyong's direction quickly. Snapped. Fangyong raised his chest to catch the incoming football, bounced his legs twice, and directly sent a gorgeous header with his head. The football flies in the direction of a goal. Call out. The ball goes in. The audience shouted and cheered. Why do you suddenly feel that playing football is more enjoyable than the game just now? Under the warm invitation of Prince Fangyong, many people have already joined the ranks of playing football. In addition, Fangyong said that in order to be fair, he has returned to normal. Fangyong was afraid that he would accidentally kick Hit to death. I can't get enough of it. Dare to come to my territory to act wild. I can't kill you. What do you think I have cultivated my self-extreme will for so long? King, Queen, Ziyao, the king and the 3 of them did not join. The king wanted to join the game several times, but was stopped by the queen. You are a king of a country, why did you run over to join in the fun? It's all right for the prince to follow along. A good martial arts tournament. No, Hit's assassination abruptly turned into a football match. Just because Fangyong said he didn't watch the World Cup. The question is, what is the World Cup? Moreover, the saddest thing here is Hit. Now Hit has been sealed into a sphere with energy by Fangyong, and is being kicked as a ball. The one who played more vigorously here was Caulifla, who moved coquettishly again and again, winning applause from the audience. Kale was a little restrained at the beginning, but after letting go, his face turned red with joy. It's still a little embarrassing. Followed by Chunhua and Chushi. Although the two young maids didn't play very well. But the ball looks good. Fangyong sighed for a while. This is called real watching. Although I'm just a fake fan. But I like watching football. Frost also joined the team and entered the ranks of playing football. Later, Bodimo and Awaking Magetta also joined the team. Magetta kicked the ball very hard. Let you call me rotten iron. I kick you to death. Everyone present was conquered by His Royal Highness's arrogance. The senior Saiyan of His Royal Highness is really handsome. Advanced Saiyan are so powerful. How powerful is His Majesty's Super Saiyan? A ball game lasted for more than 2 hours. Fangyong still has more to say. That, Fangyong, your father and I have calmed down. The king flew over and said to Fangyong. Isn't your father coming to play football? Fangyong invited. No. The king wiped his sweat. Let me, the king of a country, fool around with you. Your mother will kill me. It's okay, father, you are busy with your work. Fangyong said, when I have had enough fun, I will ask who ordered him by the way. The king nodded. Have you offended anyone during this time? Fangyong looked at the king. It's normal for a king to be assassinated. The king pondered, if you want to offend anyone. The only ones who offend should be those relatively evil Saiyans, but they have already moved to Planet Plant. Oh, Planet. Fangyong was taken aback. As a Dragon Ball fan, Fangyong knows that the first planet Saiyan in the 7th universe lived in was Planet Shadara. Saiyan on the planet Shadara suffered a devastating blow due to civil strife. Later, Saiyan relocated to Planet Plant. The first king of Vegeta, who should be the grandfather of Vegeta's father, ended the civil strife in Saiyan and renamed the planet Planet Vegeta. I never thought that the 6th universe also has Planet Plant. The difference is that there is no civil strife on Saiyan Planet here. Where is the planet you mentioned? Fangyong asked. It's in our galaxy, not far from our planet, and it can be reached in no more than an hour by our universe spaceship. The king explained, at present, King Dar occupies the Planet Plant. If you say who wants to assassinate in my words, besides your mother, it should be King Dar, the leader of this evil Saiyan. The queen stood aside with a dark face, and gave the king a hard look. Why confuse me with an evil Saiyan like King Dal? That, just a joke, The king quickly explained. King Dar, Fangyong was taken aback. This name is really quite personal. It was probably made by King Dar. He always wanted to come back and occupy our planet Shadara. The queen sighed. Your grandfather exiled him to a dwarf planet with a harsh environment, and later he took advantage of your father's just when he succeeded to the throne. When the foundation was not yet stable, he occupied Plant Planet as his base, and also recruited many evil Saiyans. The queen is right, King Dar has always wanted to destroy the peace of our Saiyan. The king nodded. The peace of our Saiyan. Fangyong sighed. If this was placed in the 7th universe, if the king said such a thing, he would definitely be despised by that fellow Vegeta. Is there peace in Saiyan? Fangyong has lived on this planet for 18 years. Fangyong has indeed witnessed the peace of this planet. The Saiyan here is even cuter than the people on Earth. Most Saiyans have a peaceful heart. Many Saiyans have also become benchmarks for maintaining peace in the universe, following Frost to conquer various criminals. Fangyong did not expose Frost's true identity. No need. When I find time, I will go to Planet personally and meet King Dar. Fangyong grinned. Your Highness, the ball is going to your side. Frost shouted from a distance. Boom. Fangyong kicked the ball flying with an upside-down golden hook. King, Queen. Ziyao pursed her lips and did not speak. There was a silence. Queen, do you really want His Royal Highness to mess around like this? Ziyao couldn't help but asked. Ziyao, why don't you join the team too? Play with His Highness, the Queen suggested. Ziyao said nothing. It's okay for me, a princess, to fight, but it's a bit inappropriate for me to play football with them. Ziyao, you have to be mentally prepared. The Queen sighed. I promised Your Highness that when he becomes number 1 in the universe, he can marry a few more concubines, so as to spread the branches and leaves for our royal family. Ziyao, Your Highness defeated Hit, the number 1 killer in the universe, and I think he is not far from being number 1 in the universe. The Queen lowered her voice. Queen, so my spring has come. The king asked excitedly. The queen's face darkened instantly. Hey, how many more sons like this are born? What are the evil Saiyans of King Dar? The king laughed. Above the sky, Champa and Vados had already appeared above the planet Shadara, looking down at the ball game below the palace. The veins on Champa's forehead popped out, and his whole body was trembling. Vados showed a question mark on his face. Lord Champa, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell? Vados asked. I'm so mad. Look what they're doing. Champa was furious. They seem to be holding a football game, a small warm-up match, just for fun, and there seems to be no group competition. Vados looked carefully and quickly understood. As for hit sealed by Fangyong, Vados didn't see it. That's why I'm angry. Champa snorted. Why? Vados was taken aback. Look at what Saiyan from the 7th universe is doing. Then look at what these guys are doing. Champa said angrily, I remember Saiyan is a fighting nation, right? If you don't fight well, what kind of ball are you playing there? Does it make sense? Master Champa is a little one-sided, isn't it? Vados was slightly taken aback, and replied, although Saiyan is a fighting nation, it is good to have some entertainment. By the way, have you found Hit? Champa changed the subject. Not yet. Not heard from him at all. Vados shook his head. How is it possible? Where did that guy Hit go? If he didn't participate in the competition, how could our universe win? Champa felt that his whole body was not good. I don't know very well, it seems to have evaporated out of thin air. Vados looked carefully again with the scepter. It's really strange, can't even you find that guy Hit? Champa said with a dark face. It's very likely that it was smashed into pieces. Vados guessed. Who is so powerful? It would be nice to find someone who can defeat Hit. Champa replied. Perhaps Mr. Hit was accidentally involved in the space storm, and he may not have been defeated. Vados said. You look for it carefully. Champa ordered. Let's go down and meet these Saiyans first, and choose a few suitable candidates from among them. But having said that, the contestants we tentatively selected before, such as Mr. Bodimo, Mr. Magetta, and Mr. Frost, are all on this planet. Vados smiled. It's much easier. Let's see first. Champa snorted and fell from the sky first. Vados followed suit. Boom. Champa landed directly on a side hall of the palace. With a loud bang, the building collapsed on the spot and was shaken to pieces. Such a huge movement attracted the attention of everyone present at that time. Nobody watches the ball anymore. What happened? Are aliens coming to attack our planet? Did King Dar bring someone here? Our planet Shadara has been peaceful for hundreds of years. What are you doing here again? Everyone immediately looked in the direction of the palace hall. Immediately afterwards, everyone saw a catman with a big fat cat and a woman with blue skin. The king also recognized Champa and Vados at a glance. Yes, Lord Gods of Destruction. The king trembled. What is Lord Gods of Destruction doing on our planet Shadara? The queen was also startled, and her face changed color. The 4 guards looked heavy, with cold sweat streaming down their faces. Many people who knew Gods of Destruction were dumbfounded at this moment. Bodimo and Magetta were also stunned, unable to say anything. Frost's face was pale, a little at a loss. Isn't that Lord Gods of Destruction? What is he doing here? And it also regarded a building in the palace as shattered. All right, they are gods of destruction, the greatest gods of this universe. He didn't shatter the entire planet on the spot, which is already giving us a lot of face. Many people also suddenly came to their senses. Could it be that the killer Hit was sent by him? King of Saiyan, who have you offended? How dare you offend the gods of destruction? Bodimo and Magetta trembled with fear. Frost wanted to scold his mother. You guys are trying to screw me to death. Master Champa, are you too messy? Vados sighed. I'm the gods of destruction, and I'm just destroying a side hall of the palace. It's already giving them face. Champa said disapprovingly. How can you invite Saiyan to participate in the competition like this? Vados sighed. If they don't come to the game, I destroy them, Champa said. Vados. After a short period of sluggishness, the king and queen immediately flew towards the direction where Gods of Destruction Champa was, intending to go there and salute him. However, Fangyong is faster. Shua. Fangyong appeared on the opposite side of Champa first. King, queen, the two suddenly had a bad feeling. Hey, you big fat cat, that's my palace. Fangyong shouted coldly. Who are you? Champa was taken aback and glanced at Fangyong. I am Fangyong, the Prince of Saiyan. You destroyed my palace, what do you say? Fangyong shouted angrily. What to do? What do you want to do? Champa suddenly became interested. Apologize, then fix the palace for me. Fangyong said, besides that, I will also destroy your palace as a reward for you. After hearing Fangyong's words, Champa was delighted at the time. Did I hear you right? You actually want to destroy my palace? If I don't fix your palace, I won't apologize. Champa looked at Fangyong with a smile. Then I have no choice but to fix you up. Fangyong snorted. Just as Fangyong finished speaking, he was restrained by the king and queen. Fortunately, Fangyong's knees were relatively hard, so he didn't kneel down. You two fools, you make me kneel with a big fat cat. I can kneel to my parents. Kneel, gods of destruction. Don't even think about it. I'm very sorry, Lord Gods of Destruction, the dog is young and ignorant, and doesn't know Lord Gods of Destruction. I hope Lord Gods of Destruction will forgive me. The king hurriedly knelt down and apologized. Lord Gods of Destruction, please forgive me for my lack of education. The queen also knelt down immediately. Kneel down quickly. Is this the most powerful Lord Gods of Destruction in the universe? The king yelled at Fangyong in a low voice. Is Gods of Destruction so great? Can Gods of Destruction destroy my palace? Fangyong plausibly replied. The king almost burst into tears. The queen was so frightened that her whole body trembled, and the phoenix crown was crooked. Both of them wanted to strangle Fangyong to death. Why doesn't this kid eat oil and salt? Are you trying to kill all our Saiyans? Don't think that if you defeat Hit, you will be number one in the real universe. The queen persuaded again earnestly. This Lord Gods of Destruction is a real god, the most powerful gods of destruction in the universe. The king hastily added, didn't I tell you before? The king was lost in thought. How do I remember telling you about gods of destruction? You should know about the existence of gods of destruction. Champa showed a proud face on the side. Boy, you seem to be yelling a lot just now. Now you know you hit the iron board, right? Even your father and mother have to kneel down to me. After you know my identity, you should also kneel down obediently. What if I destroy your palace? I destroyed your palace because I valued you. Champa has a lot of mental activities, but he didn't say it. As the gods of destruction, how could it be so easy to speak out what was in his heart? I just want to keep the mystery. I know, isn't it gods of destruction, Champa? Fangyong smiled. King, queen, you know you don't kneel yet. Oh, you know me. Champa was also a little surprised, but he didn't think too much about it. You just don't know how powerful I am. Rebuild the palace for me, and then apologize. Fangyong said. The king and queen burst into tears again. You know gods of destruction, you want him to rebuild the palace and then apologize to you. It's over. Today the Shadara planet is lost. Boy, have you figured out the situation? Champa suddenly became interested. Do you know who you are talking to? You don't even know yourself anymore, are you demented? Fangyong snorted. Champa, very good, very good. Little prince, you have completely pissed me off. Champa smiled coldly, and his face became somewhat gloomy. You destroyed my palace first, instead of apologizing, you even made my parents kneel down to you. Fangyong sneered, is gods of destruction so great? Facts have proved that the gods of destruction is amazing, a god that you can never surpass. Champa laughed and pointed to his nose with his thumb. Then, I'll beat you until you admit defeat. Fangyong no longer hesitated, the purple flames bloomed on his body, and immediately activated the self-extreme state. What? Champa froze for a moment. Isn't this the form of gods of destruction? How could this kid be in this form? Hey, Vados. Champa glanced at Vados, thinking it was her secretly recruited apprentice. Vados shrugged his shoulders. I don't know him. The king was scared out of his wits. The queen was also speechless. Botomo's eyes widened, and he wished he could leave immediately on the universe spaceship. Magetta gulped down the magma, feeling that if he didn't drink it, he would have no chance to drink it. Your Highness, this is the rhythm of war. Frost wiped his sweat vigorously, his face turned pale. Just now I thought this prince was quite easygoing and powerful. I didn't expect this product to be a tendon. If the palace is gone, it can be repaired again. You actually want to challenge gods of destruction. You thought you were an advanced Saiyan, you could defeat gods of destruction. Xiao's fragrant sweat slid down from her face. Is our prince's mind not very good? Do you really want to challenge gods of destruction? Caulifla revealed a look of confusion. Hey, who is gods of destruction? Is it very powerful? Caulifla asked Xiao beside her. Caulifla really doesn't know about gods of destruction. Xiao was speechless. HMPH, even if gods of destruction is great, it's definitely not enough for Fangyong. Caulifla snorted. What do you know? Xiao shook her head and replied with a cold face, gods of destruction is a myth that this universe can never surpass, and is the most powerful god in this universe. No matter how powerful a god is, it's not enough for Fangyong to fight. Caulifla said. Xiao didn't want to talk anymore, and was almost suffocated into an internal injury. Are you an idiot? Can't you understand what I'm saying? The situation is not good. Your Highness, you are so arrogant. Do you really think you are invincible after defeating Hit? That's gods of destruction. No one can beat gods of destruction. Even Father King's Super Saiyan can't defeat gods of destruction. You're just an advanced Saiyan, how are you going to fight gods of destruction? Xiao also sweated for the prince. Fangyong, it's over, it's nothing special. Caulifla yelled. Well, I like a girl with a genuine temperament like you, and I give you a thumbs up. Fangyong turned his head and stretched out his thumb to Caliph. Hee hee, Caulifla grinned. Xiao stood aside with a dark face and didn't say a word. The king and queen didn't speak anymore, and they didn't know what to do for a while. The prince let the words go. It would be inappropriate to call him back now. And judging from the meaning of this Lord Gods of Destruction, he also wanted to fix the prince well. If we stop them now, the gods of destruction will destroy the entire planet Shadara in a fit of rage. The king and queen looked at each other, with more worry and helplessness in their eyes. This time it was the greatest god of this universe who offended. Now the only way is to count on Namek's Dragon Ball, the queen pondered. Namek's Dragon Ball, what is that? The king was taken aback. I read it from an ancient book a long time ago. The queen lowered her voice and said, it is said that there is a kind of magical bead on Namek. There are 7 of these magical beads in total, and they are called Dragon Ball. As long as you get them together with 7 Dragon Balls, any wish can come true. If the prince is really killed by him, we can only resurrect our son through the Dragon Ball. But, didn't Namek disappear long ago? Asked the king. I don't think so. The queen shook her head. I think it's because the Namek people have a feeling of guilt, so they tried to hide their planet. It seems to make sense. The king nodded, then shook his head vigorously. By the way, we still haven't figured out the purpose of Lord Gods of Destruction's coming to our planet. The queen fell silent. Looking at Fangyong and Champa again, they look at each other. Fangyang's expression was focused, and his expression became more and more dignified. Champa, on the other hand, looked calm and calm. It's just a small human being, and it's easy for me to kill him. But this kid can comprehend destructive energy, which is a talent. It's really not you. Champa turned to ask Vados again. Master Champa thinks that I secretly recruited him as an apprentice. Vados replied, it's really not me. When I came to planet Shadara last time, this prince was not born yet. Strange guy, he can comprehend destruction. Champa muttered thoughtfully. Lord Champa, if His Royal Highness is allowed to participate in the competition, I think our 6th universe will definitely be stable. Vados said to Champa from the side. Champa also thought about it just now, and nodded slightly. HMPH, let's see how this kid is. Champa smiled. No, what I mean is, Mr. Champa might as well apologize earlier, and then have a polite exchange with him, so that the possibility of inviting him to participate in the competition will be higher. Vados suggested, otherwise I think His Royal Highness may not participate in the competition you mentioned. HMPH, I'm Gods of Destruction, do you think I'll apologize to humans? What's my face? Champa snorted, if he dares not to participate, I'll destroy him. Vados sighed slightly and said no more. Divine power. It's not easy. Champa slowly appeared in front of Fangyong. A small human can actually comprehend divine power, and it's also the power of gods of destruction. I really underestimate you. There are a lot of people who look down on me, who are you? Fangyong asked. Champa suddenly felt that his brain's CPU couldn't keep up with the rhythm. Are you complimenting me? Still scolding me? Everyone at the scene swallowed hard, and their expressions became extremely heavy. How many rounds can His Highness hold on in the hands of Lord Gods of Destruction? I'm afraid it won't take more than 3 rounds to be defeated. He is the Gods of Destruction. There is no comparison between it and him. Then, let me see how capable you are. Champa smiled lightly and waved at Fangyong. Come on, try to attack me with all your strength. Boom. Fangyong, what else is so polite? At that time, he stepped forward and punched Champa in the nose. It was you who made me attack you with all my might. Ah, Champa was caught off guard on the spot, feeling his nose sore, and tears were about to fall. Snapped. After Fangyong punched Champa in the nose, he grabbed Champa with his left hand and grabbed the back of Champa's head. Boom. Fangyong just pressed the back of Champa's head and hit his knee directly. Champa felt his head buzzing at that time, and his eyes felt dizzy. Hey! Fangyong drove over with a big kick and kicked Champa high into the sky. Shua! With a movement, Fangyong quickly appeared directly above Champa. Boom! Fangyong intertwined his hands into fists, and it was a heavy blow to Champa. Call out! Champa turned into a meteor and fell quickly from the sky. Boom! The next moment, Champa was like a cannonball, hitting the distant land heavily. In an instant, a huge crater appeared on the ground, and smoke and dust were everywhere around the crater. Fangyong descended from the sky, grabbed Champa's head, and rubbed vigorously in the crater. All the Saiyans present were stunned. Did we read that right? Shouldn't it be His Royal Highness who should be beaten? Why did Lord Gods of Destruction get beaten up like this? Is this Gods of Destruction fake? What, am I not mistaken? The Queen was also a little confused. The king rubbed his eyes vigorously. Senior Saiyan is so powerful. My son can beat Gods of Destruction like this. Can my Super Saiyan beat Gods of Destruction in seconds? Ah, I accidentally reached the pinnacle of the universe. Come on son, beat that guy. You better be Gods of Destruction. Then my throne will be completely stable. No, something is wrong. The Queen wiped her sweat. What's wrong? The king was taken aback. Your Majesty, have you seen it? The Queen said in a deep voice, look at Lord Gods of Destruction, take a closer look. What are you looking at? What's the matter? What's wrong? Asked the king. No injury, the Queen said. You mean, is he playing? The king shuddered. Yes, Master Champa is indeed playing. He hasn't been this happy for a long time, and today he has found an opponent who makes him a little more serious. Vados flew over and landed beside the king and queen, smiling say something. The king's pupils shrank and his face changed color slightly. The queen even had a bad premonition, and her brain was running rapidly, wanting to see how to solve this contradiction. Ah! The audience shouted loudly again. Many Saiyans are excited. Our prince even labeled Gods of Destruction like this. Isn't it said that Gods of Destruction is an invincible myth? Now is this myth about to be busted? High-level Saiyans are so powerful, isn't His Majesty's Super Saiyan against the sky? Isn't that why you don't bother to make a move without seeing His Majesty? Your Majesty knelt before the Gods of Destruction out of courtesy. All the people present talked and cheered for His Royal Highness's bravery. Bang bang bang. Fangyong punched Champa in the face. Champa let Fangyong's fist hit his face, but his face became more and more gloomy. Snapped. The next moment, Champa slightly raised his hand and caught Fangyong's fist with his palm. Fangyong. As expected of Gods of Destruction. I'm so selfish. After beating you for a long time, you didn't take any injuries. Boy, have you hit enough? Champa held Fangyong's fist with his palm and slowly flew up from the ground with a cold face. Fangyong felt that endless power was rushing towards him at that time. The powerful force caused Fangyong's fists to shrink back. Apologize, rebuild the palace, destroy your own palace, just these 3 things. Fangyong said. Boy, you hit me for so long just now, do you think it's okay? Champa sneered. Boom. Fangyong had nothing to be polite about. Before Champa could show his real strength, he punched Champa again, directly hitting Champa's face. This time Fangyong jumped high to fight, and also raised the energy of self-intention to the extreme. Accompanied by a muffled sound, Champa fell to the ground at that time, and the fall was not light. After Champa got up from the ground, he suddenly found a trace of blood oozing from the corner of his mouth. Since I've hit you for so long just now, it's not a bad punch. Fangyong grinned. The audience was stunned again. This time the audience was speechless. Many viewers can see it. His Royal Highness, I am afraid that he has already used all his strength. However, Lord Gods of Destruction seems to be playing. It's like a cat and a mouse. The mouse beat the cat for a long time, but the cat just doesn't bother to be as familiar as the mouse. That's basically what's happening now. Sure enough, Gods of Destruction is an invincible myth. His Royal Highness is so powerful, and he has beaten Lord Gods of Destruction for such a long time. Gods of Destruction will be fine. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.